webinar on the strategies for agroforestry in wood-based industries in South India. So we would like to have some discussions on current experiences and the way forward. So I would like to invite Dr. M.P. Singh to say a few words and begin the webinar, please.
Thank you, Vaidnathanji. So today's seminar, all the respected panelists, it is a really great honor to have you all as the panelists. And we have been conducting this kind of seminar for last so many days. But this is the gathering from the South India. And we really want the learning. What is the learning from the South India, which can be replicated in the North India? That is the basic objective of today's seminar. How we are, how the role of the agroforestry can be enhanced for the wood-based industry. So it is more of a listening to the other panelists, and then I'll chip in with my own observations in between also. So we will try to understand all the aspects related to the role of agroforestry and wood-based industry, augmenting raw material and the species also, so that we can really have a holistic view for the country. So with this initial words only, I would be listening to all of you and intervene. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Saab. I would like to invite Subhash Jolly Saab, President WTA, to add a few words, remarks for the introduction of this webinar. Jolly Saab.
I request Dr. Pandey sir, जो FIPPI के पॉजिटिव एटीट्यूड पर खुशखबरी देंगे, जो आने वाले समय के लिए फार्मर्स व इंडस्ट्रीज के लिए मील का पत्थर साबित होने जा रही है। तो मैं खुलासा ना करते हुए डॉक्टर पांडे सर से बोलता हूं कि वो खुशखबरी सुनाएं।
Dr. Pandey sir, over to you.
Thank you very much, Jali sir. In fact, FIPPI has taken a lot of responsibility actually for the development of food-based industries, especially plywood and panel industry. And in our planning, it is also for the solid wood as well as for other food-based industries. I think before we talk about the strategies for enhancement role of agroforestry, before we talk in details, I think let us try to understand that where we have failed, what is the problem, and what we are supposed to address, and which area should be the priority actually for looking into. In that respect, we had a deliberation, very elaborate deliberation just about a few days back. और काफी डिस्कशन के बाद हम लोग इस निष्कर्ष पे पहुंचे कि like that if we keep on talking, then probably will not reach anywhere. Because many times we have been talking about this problem, and not during this last 2 years, but even earlier also, because raw material security is one of the major issues. How the raw material can be ensured in future for the wood-based industries, and what strategy we should start, or what roadmap we should prepare to lead the enhancement of the agroforestry material for the wood-based industries. In that respect, we had a lot of manthan, and we arrived to a conclusion that at least 70, that is, say 5% of the agricultural land, if it is allotted or if it is agreed by the government, let it be put under agroforestry. See, at the moment, existing land, I think with the agroforestry, with the agriculture is about 150 million hectare. So out of that, if 5% is diverted for agroforestry, which will be around 7.5 million hectare, the material generated out of this area will be sufficient to meet the timber requirement up to 2030. I don't mean that we should right now have 7.5 million hectare for undertaking the plantation. But in coming, say 5 to 6 years, we should try to achieve certain areas under agroforestry plantation program. Then only I think we can say to industry that raw material sustainability can be ensured. I was just looking to some figures that how and with what rate our industry is growing, especially I'll be talking about the plywood and panel industry. And I recently saw one report from ITTO where they have quoted that in 2021, the plywood demand was nearly 15.47 million cubic meter. Whereas our production is about 10 million cubic meter, including, of course, MDF and particle board, which is not more than, I think, 12.5 million cubic meter. So still there is a gap of 3-4 million cubic meter. And that is the reason why we have been importing this product. So, and then again, that report says that with rate, industry is growing because of the increase in the education quality, increase in the income, increase in the housing requirement of the country. And overall, there is an increase in the population. So, if the housing has to be provided to everyone, definitely there is going to be increase in the requirement of the plywood and panel product. And it is predicted that by 2030, requirement will be about 57.5 million cubic meter. And if that sustainability of raw material has to be ensured, then definitely we should impress upon the government that unless and until we divert certain percentage of agricultural land for undertaking plantation, we will not be able to sustainably manage the industry's requirement. So, and coming back to about the species and all that, I think a lot of work has already been done by ITC. These are some of the organizations which are involved in improving the technology for and even of ICFRE and other research institute for generating for producing good clones where we can ensure higher productivity, as we are right now claiming that about 25 cubic meter per hectare per annum. And but there are claims that it can be made up to 40 cubic meter per hectare. So that way there is a lot of opportunity provided we move on a right path and we prepare a roadmap actually. Till date, I have not seen, of course, from FIPPI side and with the help of my chairman, group chairman of Century, Mr. Sajjad Bajanka, we are trying to prepare a roadmap that with what strategy we should go and talk to the minister so that we can press upon that what is the contribution of this industry for the generating employment and for the welfare of the mankind, and how raw material sustainability can be ensured. And with this, I think that's all my comment regarding species and all that. We have very limited choice. And then I think here is the role of our research institution like ICFRE and IFGTB, IWST. We have just a few counted, we can count few species actually which are suitable for plywood in South. And most often we talk about the Milia dubia or rubber wood or silver wood. There is no fourth species which we can proudly say that also going to be in future raw material for the industry. Right. Whereas in other part of the country, I see there is a lambu, some mahogany variety, which is growing very well actually in Western, in the West.
Kolkata.
So there is a need for expanding the species also, and in that respect, I think research institution has to do a lot of work. and come out with certain fast-growing species which can adapted at agricultural by agriculturists, because unless and until it suits to their requirement and to their income, definitely they will not go for the plantation. And another issue actually, which is Dr. Singh is very, very aware, that need for raw material for the face veneer. See, as on date, a very meager amount of face veneer is actually produced from Melia dubia, and one of the leading person, luckily, is sitting among us, Mr. Moiz,
Yes.
who is the first person actually reported about Melia dubia, and after a long gap, we as an institute started talking about Melia dubia and its further improvement and tissue culture and all those things. But he is the person actually who brought this species. Like that, my request is other industrialists from Kerala and from Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, from Maharashtra and from Andhra Pradesh also to come up with certain species. They have found it promising for a plywood and panel product. And these are some of the ways I think some of the ways how we can enhance the role of agroforestry in the wood-based industries, not only in South India, but even in North. In North, poplar and eucalyptus, of course, is already doing well. So, but how long we'll be talking about only 3-4 species? Why not to talk about some other species and think of, that is what my submission to this August panelist. Thank you, Dr. Singh. And thank you, Shazali.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pandey sir. Very comprehensive, point by point, pinpointing of various aspects that have been going on right now, and what we may be able to think of in future. So, in this regard, from the industrialist point of view, we have the senior-most person who is gracing this panel, Moiz Vagh sahib. So, just as Dr. Pandey sahib also mentioned, so I request Moiz Vagh sahib to add a few words in this regard.
Thank you, Mr. Vaidyanathan. Thank you very much. I hope that you can all hear me well.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes.
Sir, thank you, Dr. Pandey, for whatever you have said. And thank you all, gentlemen. They are all eminent personalities are here. I have less to offer. As far as my knowledge is concerned, I am an industry man, and I can only talk about the industry. And of course, regarding the Melia dubia, which we are talking about. First and foremost is, we are thankful to our farmer friends, due to which our industry is running today. Without them today, the wood-based industry in India will not be in existence. And they are the people who are today giving us the raw material. So all our raw material today is coming from the farm forestry. And they are the people who are contributing to it in a very great way. And of course, they are the people who have to be looked after well, as far as we are all concerned. Now, coming to our needs. See, today used in all sorts of manners. Paper industry requires it, wood industry requires it, and the wood industry means, when I said that plywood, particle board, MDF, they all require the timber to run these industries to run. What has happened is, today the timber from natural forest is almost zero. Nobody is using the timber from the natural forest. In fact, if it's also available, we don't buy it. And we are only using this timber in our factories. Only what we are using today is from the agroforestry timber. But what is happening is that timber which is grown by the farmers they are not getting the proper good quality seedlings, number one. They don't know, many of them don't know how to grow this timber properly. So they make a lot of mistakes, and that will due to which they suffer a lot of losses. And this has to be looked after. And the another thing is the proper, who will buy this timber afterwards, whom they should sell the timber. No, middlemen are always involved over there, and they are necessary evil over there. That is what is the problem. That is one thing which is very, very important. So since 2005, we are almost 100% on plantation timber. My factory is working 100% on the plantation timber. That is only on Melia dubia today. We don't use two species. We use one is Melia dubia, and second species we are using is the silver oak. These are only two species we are using it. But please understand one thing. In the rainfall, where the heavy rainfall region, that is either in the evergreen zone or semi-evergreen zone. But Melia is a kind of timber which grows in all other regions. That is low rainfall region also. So it is a very, very good species to grow in every part of India. In fact, it grows in the length and breadth of India, and it also grows in Southeast Asia also. They are growing in a very large way. Also in the other places like some places in Africa it has been grown. So I'm also very well-known species today in the plywood industry as far as South. And the most important thing about the media is that it can produce faces. The face, it is only constitute only just about 5% of the 5% of can be produced. Frankly speaking, I'm a proud. So what has happened is now that when the plantation is grown, the farmer is told to put certain particular acreage. He can say, all right, you can grow. We tell them that to grow only give a spacing of some 20 feet by 20 feet minimum. But what we find is that they are growing in spacing of 6 feet by 6 feet, 8 feet by 8 feet, 10 feet by 10 feet. Ultimately, the timber does not grow well. And we are finding that only most of the timber is going into the core and not found that this is not coming into the faces. We get hardly about 5 to 7% of the timber also does not come in for the faces. So the important thing is that when we can produce our own faces in the country with certain species of timber which is like Melia, why should we not do it? What is that prevents us from doing it, and what is the reason why we are lacking to give this kind of the knowledge to the farmers, to ask them to grow the timber which have a higher girth, which can fetch better, much better prices than what they are getting now. Now, as we have been pointed out to us, that there are only 4 species which you have now identified, 4 or 5 species which you have identified in India, which are plantation species. One is the eucalyptus, another is poplar, third is the rubber, fourth is silver. But these are all exotic species. They are not growing in India. They are not from India. As far as we are concerned, the Melia is the only timber which is a native of this land, and it grows very well. Of course, we have to find out most of the region it grows very well. I can say that. So we have to concentrate on this particular species, in my opinion. Of course, as Dr. Pandey has said, that we have to find out some other species also which can grow along with that, because we can't depend on one species only. So my particular through this particular the webinar, I wanted to express to all of you gentlemen that we have to find out a way of growing quality seedlings, supplying the quality material to the farmer, and also to see how it is proper knowledge has to be given to them. What should be the density of the timber and where to grow and how to grow. Because this particular, when this knowledge is lacking, we are talking about it all the time to grow, do everything, but we talk so much, but we do very less. And we have to do something about something practically, something about it, especially when so much land is available. Farmer wants to grow today the timber, wants to supply us. Why we should not do it? This is my this before this panel, and we have to find the solution for all this. Thank you very much, Ajay.
थैंक यू मोइज साहब। मैं अपने दर्शकों से मोइज साहब का परिचय एक बार करवा देना चाहता हूं कि मोइज साहब डायरेक्टर हैं हंसूर प्लाईवुड वर्क्स प्राइवेट लिमिटेड हंसूर के। 1946 से अब तक हंसूर का नाम साउथ ही नहीं पूरे इंडिया में क्वालिटी और टिक प्लाईवुड में मशहूर और जाना पहचाना नाम है। किसान और उद्योग से संवाद स्थापित करने में पायोनियर रहे मिस्टर मोइज ने मिलिया डुबिया को न केवल प्रोत्साहित किया बल्कि इसको संपूर्ण रूप से उपयोग भी किया है। मिलिया डुबिया को अपनी फैक्ट्री में मिलिया की कोर तो यूज करते ही हैं, लेकिन बल्कि इसका 100% फेस भी यूज करते हैं। आज से तीन साल पहले ही इनका विजन क्लियर था कि मिलिया डुबिया ओकुमे के न केवल बराबर है बल्कि शायद उससे बेहतर टिम्बर है। तो ये विजन बहुत ही कंसेप्ट क्लियर। मैं आज्ञा से डॉक्टर CN पांडे का भी परिचय एक बार करवा देना चाहता हूं कि हमारे फिप्पी और सेंचुरी प्लाईवुड के प्रिंसिपल टेक्निकल एडवाइजर डॉक्टर CN पांडे 2003 से 2013 10 साल तक IPRIT बेंगलुरु के डायरेक्टर पद पर थे और IPRIT में आने से पहले 1976 से 2003 तक फॉरेस्ट प्रोडक्ट यूटिलाइजेशन के वुड सीजनिंग से संबंधित विभिन्न विभागों में साइंटिस्ट के तौर पर कार्यरत थे। डॉक्टर पांडे इज ए रिसिपिएंट ऑफ ICFRE एक्सेलेंस अवार्ड फॉर हिज कंट्रीब्यूशन in the field of wood utilization research during the year 2003 and is also conferred with the Karnataka State Intellectual Award, the Great Son of Karnataka. डॉक्टर पांडे के करीब 70 के करीब रिसर्च पेपर और वुड सीजनिंग टेक्नोलॉजी पर एक पुस्तक प्रकाशित हो चुकी है। डॉक्टर वैद्य साहब।
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now proceed.
Yeah, Moiz sir, thank you very much for your input and your detailed points on what has to be done and what we have to look forward to with regard to agroforestry practices. And some of the very significant points remain that you spoke about the quality of seedlings and quality planting materials, and especially the spacing which the farmers have to figure out in order to maintain the quality of timber required for plywood. So in this regard, I would like to switch to Mr. B.R. Narayanaswamy sir, who has been a farmer since very long, and in relation to what Moiz sir has put forth with regard to agroforestry practices which have to be taken forward. Dr. Narayanaswamy sir, if you can kindly add your points on how Tamil Nadu has been, we all know probably that Tamil Nadu has been a state which has given very good significance for agroforestry practices, and which is why we have Mr. Narayanaswamy, Dr. Nicodemus in our panel, who can provide good insights into how the Tamil Nadu state has been working on agroforestry model, because there have been some lot of news items also that Tamil Nadu farmers are very much going towards agroforestry model. So Narayanaswamy sir, please introduce the techniques which you have followed. तो इससे पहले मैं भारती साहब से रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि नारायणस्वामी साहब का एक इंट्रोडक्शन करें ताकि पैनलिस्ट एंड व्यूअर्स विल नो the works of Narayanaswamy sir. Please.
Mr. B.R. Narayanaswamy, Coimbatore. Yes, Mr. B.R. Narayanaswamy, Coimbatore Agroforestry Farmer Producer Company Limited के को-फाउंडर और CEO हैं। तमिलनाडु फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट के अंडर में कोयम्बटूर डिस्ट्रिक्ट हर्बल एंड ट्री ग्रोवर एसोसिएशन मात्र 20 किसानों के साथ बनाने में अहम भूमिका निभाते हुए और हर महीने कंजर्वेटर और फॉरेस्ट्री ऑफिस में लोकल जनता के साथ बैठक करते हुए ड्राई लैंड में सिल्वीकल्चर प्रयोगों के द्वारा पूरे देश में जागरूकता फैलाते रहे डॉक्टर नारायण स्वामी। जब गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया प्रोड्यूसर कंपनी कॉन्सेप्ट लेकर आई, तब तक यह एसोसिएशन 500 किसानों के साथ खुद के पैरों पर अपने रेवेन्यू पर खड़ी थी। छोटे और मझोले किसानों को बगैर किसी मिडिलमैन के अपने एग्रीकल्चरल उत्पादों का बेहतर दाम दिलाने वाली संस्था बनाने का गौरव दिलाने वाले नारायण स्वामी को 2009 में एनवायरनमेंट और फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट द्वारा पुरस्कृत किया गया था उनके इस रोल के लिए, जिसमें उन्होंने तमिलनाडु के 5000 एकड़ प्राइवेट पट्टा लैंड में ट्री प्लांटिंग के लिए किसानों को जागरूक किया गया था। और इसीलिए डॉक्टर साहब से हम बहुत कुछ जानना चाहेंगे, उनका एक्सपीरियंस। प्लीज सर।
Yeah, thank you so much.
Please proceed, sir.
I'm thankful to Mr. Vaidyanathan and Jolie for introducing me to the galaxy of officers and scientists like Nicodemus who have been associated with us for the last 15-20 years. We have been, Coimbatore is one fortunate city where we have Tamil Nadu Agriculture University, it's Forest College and Research Institute, plus Institute of Forest Genetics and Tree Breeding, ICFR institution. So we are the most luckiest people in Tamil Nadu to be very close to the scientists and officers. And there is a very big Tamil Nadu Forest Academy where the rangers and the senior officers are trained. So we keep meeting senior officers very often. So almost about half a dozen PCCFs have gone the last 15-20 years. Have visited our officers. We have been regularly meeting the last 218 months since September 2002. Dr. Kumar Velu has started this program. He inducted the farmers into a formal meeting every month on the 6th of every calendar month. So we have been doing it till the pandemic broke in March 2020. So we have conducted almost 218 monthly meetings. Attendance of roughly about 120 farmers used to attend. We used to have a subscriber base of nearly 700 farmers, and actively 1,000 farmers are listening to our various inputs. We are running a small monthly in-house magazine called Vanatota Malar, which means forest flower in English. It's in Tamil magazine, which I am editor for that. So we have been updating the farmers about various rules and regulations of the Tamil Nadu Forest Department and the All India Forest News. This is our basic motive. We have played a very significant role in bringing the free current services for planting the trees. In 2009, we had an issue with the Forest Electricity Board. The free current cannot be used for planting trees, for irrigating the trees. That was an issue which we took up with the chief engineer. And actually, there was no rule to prevent using the electricity for irrigating the silviculture plantation. It was actually, the engineers didn't know that this can be used for all agricultural activities, including poultry, where a farmer is using everything in his own farm. So these are small things we have crossed and successfully. At the moment, I want to give me plus points of what we have in Coimbatore, I mean in Tamil Nadu farmers basically. As the forest is very high quality plantation, short duration plants, especially in eucalyptus and Villa dubia plus So these are the varieties we have here, and we have very good infrastructure in terms of roads and connectivity. Tamil Nadu, and a good number of harvesters. I mean, the tree cutter is also available competitively. Approximately, it costs us about 800 to 900 rupees per ton to cut the trees. And similarly, available transport connected. And we have a very big plus point is our agreement with the plywood manufacturers. So we have agreed with the plywood and the Ambi plywood. They have been asking us to supply more than 500 tons, which we are unable to meet. There is a minimum price of 6,000 rupees to 8,500 rupees, depending on the age of the plant, age of the timber. So that way we are very much in advantage. Let me come to the minus points are the requirements that Tamil Nadu farmers are facing. The basic thing is there is no single window system in Tamil Nadu to redress the farmers' subsidies or bank assistance or even marketing the products. So we have multiple agencies. For example, if I have to get subsidy for plants like red sandal, Amelia arborea, I had to go to the horticulture department. Horticulture department manages the national mission on medicinal plants. So they only give subsidy and they have very limited targets. So they some 2,000, 3,000 saplings only they give in a district. So these are then we go to them. They don't supply material. They tell us to buy and give the bill to them and then claim these subsidy. It's almost 75% subsidy. The forest department is growing, and whereas I get buy from the forest department, they get it from the subsidy from the horticulture department. This is one big issue. So it discourages farmer to go for such plantations, other than the regular plywood and pulpwood supply materials, because we farmers are interested in agroforestry pattern of farming. So we need other species also, especially mahogany, and we need very good teak plantations, very fast-growing tissue culture teak we require. So these are the requirements of Tamil Nadu farmers, and we also want a good open yard kind of thing. See, if you come to Tamil Nadu, you will see the outskirts of all the districts. You will find the building materials like tiles and very big showrooms for marbles and granites. Whereas if you want to buy any wood or anything, it's not available in Tamil Nadu. You have to go to a specific company where they will wood merchant. He will be mostly trying to sell you the imported wood. The remuneration for him, and it's well seasoned and marketed very well. Whereas our farmers cannot go and sell it directly to a timber merchant, because the timber merchant will put 1,000 conditions before buying. And the experience will be that he will be in loss to selling it to a timber merchant. So this is one issue. And then we have been asking the government to liberate this sandalwood and sandals. Sandals we could be successful in getting it liberated. Because in Karnataka, there is an agreement between the plywood, the sandalwood company and the farmers, whereas in Tamil Nadu, they only have to sell it to the government. And there our experience is extremely bad. Almost no one has received.
Voice is very slow, sir. Voice is very less.
Oh, okay. So these are the
mic closer.
Yeah, okay. So these are our common issues which we, since we are into agroforestry model, so we need to concentrate on other species also. We've been suggesting the government to form promotion councils like wood promotion council or tea board, and even honey board has been recently formed. Honey board has been recently formed. Similar kind of single window system where we can have buyers, sellers, and the other stakeholders can participate in the committee or board kind of things, which will be a very big boost to us, because we are the farmers who are slowly coming into tree farming. Traditionally, it has been a market for food and art. It was a cotton market. Coimbatore was predominantly once upon a time cotton, and this Manila was there, prominent crops. So nowadays, due to water scarcity, we have switched over to tree farming. So these are the major issues. Other important issue which we feel is developing value addition. We need carpentry labor force, skill set force, which we are lacking in Tamil Nadu. Whereas in almost all the homes, newly built homes have a lot of wooden shelves, or plywood shelves and modular kitchens, which are very high in cost. A modular kitchen is minimum 4 lakhs to, it goes up to 10 lakhs. Whereas the farmer who is growing Melia dubia or even plywood industry supplies to, whereas we don't get any inch of space for this kind of special value addition area. These are our concerns. If farmer has to become or double his income or improve his income, he needs to have value addition training, value addition skill set available for outsourcing. These are all completely zero in Tamil Nadu. Whereas when I came to Delhi, I have been participating in the wood exhibitions conducted in Delhi. I found in Rajasthan, a lot of skill set is available. These kind of things are not available in South, especially in Tamil Nadu. We need a lot of value addition and a lot of tooling, special tooling for developing products from the wood. Then only the farmer will be satisfied. Locally, it should be made available so that the transportation cost is saved. These are our major concerns. Saab was telling about face veneer. Yeah, a lot of face veneer plants we want to concentrate so that it gets a good price in the Melia. Dr. Parthiban, who has been our mentor in Forest College Dean, has been telling us to concentrate on high value producers so that the farmer gets, and more second generation farmers should come into this. Recently, I have been invited by IFGTB to launch an app called Tree Jenny, which is very well giving us the one window for all information. So such new things we are expecting from the research institutions. We are really thrilled to know use the app Forest Jenny. Thanks to the institution and the scientists who have developed it. These are our few words which I want to share with you. Since it's our first meeting, I want to keep it a little shorter. Thank you for your audience. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Narayan sir, for your wonderful input. See, you have brought to the notice that there are agreements with plywood manufacturers.
Yes.
There are also agreements with regard to the price range also depending on the girth of the timber, so we can say. So these are all very important points where we can learn. Plywood industries all over India can learn from.
Sure.
Yeah. So I would like to ask you one question in this regard. So further discussions we can have later. So which in a single point, which species for the plywood sector has given your area of farmers the best value as a timber for plywood industry?
Plywood industry is ambi plywood.
No, which species of timber has given you the best value for this? Melia dubia. That is a very important input, sir. So with this, I would like to ask Sri Jolly Saab to introduce the next panelist, to switch to the next panelist so that we may take the discussion ahead. Jolly Saab.
Doctor.
Hello. Anji sir.
Murthy sir.
Okay.
Yeah. Dr. Murthy sir, we welcome you. Please, Bharati sir, please introduce.
मैं डॉक्टर के एन मूर्ति सर का स्वागत करना चाहूंगा। 1985 बैच के IFS डॉक्टर के एन मूर्ति सर 2018 में कर्नाटक से PCCF एवं कर्नाटक स्टेट फॉरेस्ट इंडस्ट्रीज कॉरपोरेशन लिमिटेड के MD के पद से रिटायर हुए थे। रिसर्च, प्लानिंग और इवैल्यूएशन आदि फॉरेस्ट्री के सभी पहलुओं पर व्यापक काम किया है डॉक्टर मूर्ति सर ने। वर्तमान में Managing Director of Tree Land Development Services Private Limited और MD of Tree Land Executive Director of Bamboo Society of India है। एग्रो फॉरेस्ट्री प्रोडक्ट की मार्केटिंग के लिए किसानों की हर संभव सहायता के लिए तत्पर रहने वाले डॉक्टर मूर्ति फार्म ग्रोन टिम्बर और उसके साथ जुड़े हुए इंडस्ट्रीज को प्रतिबंधों से आजादी दिलाने के लिए कर्नाटका फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट के साथ मिलकर डॉक्टर मूर्ति हर संभव प्रयास कर रहे हैं। इसलिए इनके इनपुट आज के हमारे वेबिनार के लिए काफी महत्वपूर्ण रहेंगे। डॉक्टर साहब।
Thank you very much. First, I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me for this webinar. I will share a few statistics from the recently published State of Forest report. And we also had one more study report by the Environmental Research Institute, Management and Planning Research Institute, which has done a wood balance study for Karnataka. Now, first about agroforestry. Now, the demand is that 5% of the area, cultivated area, should be dedicated. We are almost there in Karnataka. Now, the recent State of Forest report says that 2.8% of the total geographical area is extremely well in Karnataka. And today meeting, something is 70% is coming from the government forest, and the rest is coming from import from either abroad or from within the India, but from other states, particularly plywood, etc., is coming from. Now, there is scope, considering that some 14-15% is coming from outside, that much can be expanded. But otherwise, the agroforestry sector as a whole has done extremely well. Now, the productivity at this point of time, the total growing stock of Karnataka trees outside forest is 121 million cubic meters. This is not a small quantity. 121 million cubic meters, and the annual productivity is 6 cubic meters per hectare. Now, I will come to the issues little later. Coming to the wood industries in Karnataka, there are only some 5 or 6 big industries. And particularly, there are 2 paper mills. There were 4. 2 became sick. We are left with 2, and there is an absolute monopoly of these 2 industries. The one industry takes only eucalyptus, and they dictate the price. The price dictated is 2,500 rupees per ton at the factory gate, and this the farmer has to deliver. Farmer or usually middleman deliver, and we have to, if you go into a little bit of statistics of whether how much the farmer will actually get. Cutting and transportation is involved. The truck has to wait for almost 12 hours. If you just look at the return the farmer will get, it will be very appalling. 2,500 rupees per ton at factory gate. Now, how do we expect farmers to grow? That's one issue. Then there is a monopoly. You don't have a choice. If it is eucalyptus, it has to go to factory X only. If it is acacia, it has to go to factory Y only. We are in a very pitiable situation, and the farmers are really frustrated about the return they are getting. Now, there are 2 big factories, but as far as I know, there are now other big plywood industries. There are 2 particle board industries. One is located in Chikmagalur, and there is one located in Mangalore, in Kolar. Now, the Chikmagalur unit is fully functional. It works all the time and 24 hours a day. Internal problems, it hardly works for let's say some 10 days in a month. So that is not a case. There are not many industries, sir. There are 5,000, close to 5,000 wood-based small factories, particularly either they can consume a lot, or they can sell a lot. Now, this is the overall scenario. The productivity is quite high, whether you name it coffee districts, because the government has liberalized the laws. People went in for massive amount of planting, and today there is no taker for people are ready to give. The importers import some. The importers are wood industries are getting the lowest quality wood. Doesn't even command 100 rupees per year. That is a very critical condition. So this is about the wood situation. The big industries are lacking. We really need big industries. Consume large quantities of wood that's available. Teak has also been from the farmers. Where our industry, my company is a small company. It was started by one retired forest officer. It was dormant. We just took over. Last 2 years, we are trying to supply wood to industries. Digital platform, digital marketing platform. Maybe more industries. It's under construction. It should be ready in another 6 months or 1 year, and then we will be able to meet the industry's demands. The issue of face veneers, lack of face veneers, lack of too much teak available. I travel widely across India, Karnataka. I go to many villages. I interact with farmers. Any amount of teak is available. Only thing is, sometimes they may not meet your requirements of face veneer in the sense. And there are knots, a lot of pruning material, sound quality, good quality, thick, because we keep on getting offers. We have been working in half a dozen districts in the last 1 year, and we get almost every day, on everyday basis, we get calls. Somebody says, I have 500 trees. Somebody says, I have 2,000 trees, please take. And the purchase is teak. Teak is purchased by weight. Everything is purchased by weight, of course. Teak, I have never known teak being purchased by weight. Teak is purchased in terms of weight, and the price offered is anywhere between 15,000 to 18,000 at the farm gate per ton of wood. And a lot of people from Tamil Nadu is middlemen. From penetration is obviously limited because they're small merchants and they come from far places. The penetration cannot be very deep. Now we are ready. My company is ready because we have a large number of retired forest officers at all levels, from guard level to the DFO level, and I am the PCCF working together. Only thing is we don't have ready buyers. If there are ready buyers and the price offered is reasonable, then any amount of wood is available. There is no question of wood not being available. Actually, industries are becoming a little bit picky in buying materials. Now, the technology part of it is also doing very well, but unfortunately, whatever advanced technology in wood industry that is available elsewhere in the country hasn't reached to Karnataka. We just have the same industries for quite technology, engineered wood, this, that, MDF, all those things, nothing has come to Karnataka. Whatever was there, the technological revolution of treating a farm-grown wood and then adding value to them, slicing them, or whatever fashion we can do, that has not reached here. I don't know. Maybe they are not. They know there can be all these things we can bridge. We are here. We can bridge any industry wanting to come and set up a plant in Karnataka. We can supply any quantity, whatever they require. I assure them we are going to set up this platform. And if buyer is there, we are supplying to one industry only right now. And we are done. We just started last year. That industry wanted 1,500 tons of millet dubia. We supplied in 3 months. Then next buyer we don't have. Ready-made buyer we don't have. So that is the situation. A lot of people are desperate to sell because they have grown these trees with the hope that they will be able to garner a bulk revenue at some point of time for meeting their major requirements. Maybe they have a house construction coming up, they have some medical requirement, they have some marriages coming up. This is what the farmers look to from the income of these trees. The routine income goes from routine income meets their expenses, but they look for this kind of expenses, sometimes children's education, etc., etc. Now, this is not happening. They have grown trees. There are not many buyers. In Karnataka, the timber is now from here, it is going. There will be some objection from some industry that, well, we have done a lot of work in Karnataka and we have managed successfully to popularize the agroforestry. But now people from Kerala are buying. They come to Karnataka and buy large quantity and transport. Million WBI goes to Tamil Nadu, Kerala. And then similarly, Tamil Nadu, a lot of small-time people come, they buy both teak as well as Million WBI. Telangana people come, Andhra people come, Maharashtra people buy a lot of silver oak. But then there is so much silver oak in the coffee estates that it can flood a number of markets. So the situation is not really very conducive for the farmers because they are not able to grow. My guess is that if we don't establish sufficient number of wood-based industries in Karnataka in the next 4 or 5 years, and then provide reasonable pricing, the pricing to a farmer has to be at least cost plus whatever cost he has invested, plus a little bit of return on that cost, because nobody will invest just for fun. So he has invested, at least he should get 10%, 15%, 20%, some minimum return on his cost. If that is given, a large number of farmers are ready to plant. Now we have opened up sandal, and we have huge effort going on in the Karnataka state to liberalize the rules and open up the sandal trade. So farmers see huge income there. That's why they are putting a lot of pressure on the government. For other species, there are no takers. Nobody is willing to give a huge price, reasonable price, and therefore the pressure for liberalizing the Tree Preservation Act is also there. Now we are also working with the state government. A lot of thought is going in. In about a year's time from now, the government will liberalize the felling and transportation rules. The industrial licensing also is under review. So there will be some liberalization. My invitation to the industries is please come to Karnataka. We are here, and we are a big force of retired officers, and we are working very closely with farmers. Farmers have grown a lot of trees. There is enough standing stock. You can have a look at the state forest report and even the EMPRI report on wood balance study in Karnataka. The Karnataka state is wood surplus. My invitation to industries is that please come, set it up, and particularly the scope for MDF is quite huge. They can come and they need not worry about the linkage with the farm. We will definitely provide. Our platform will be ready in 6 months. They want. So with this, I just want to stop. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Murthy sir. Very, very positive input from your side. So, Dr. Murthy sir, please listen. Murthy sir will Karnataka, and he is of the view that there is no shortage of timber. Very good news for the plywood. In this regard, I would like to invite Dr. Kulkarni to say a few words on the taking place in the south, and with regard to comparing the north scenario, how both south and north can come together and then work upon a good future for the agroforestry industry in India. Please, sir. Dr. Kulkarni sir.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy to join this group for discussion how to take forward the agroforestry. I would like to share a few thoughts of mine concerning the southern India. I go back to 1990s, where we had only one type of plantations, basically seed-based plantations, grown by the farmer on his own, and to a certain extent the industry is promoting them, mainly eucalyptus, subabul, casuarina kind of a species. Now these species were not giving that kind of productivity and not meeting the what we call the returns to the farmers, and the industry's prices were also now maybe said at that time competitively paid and based, but the plantations were not succeeding. And the reasons were analyzed, and there were many shortcomings in taking forward the plantations. And in that, the Social Forestry Department of Forest was the main source, which was promoting the farm forestry plantations at that time. The seedlings were grown and distributed by the forest department and all that. This was the story almost in almost the southern states. Now there was no breakthrough happening, and it was talked in various seminars that the farm forestry is failure. It is not giving any kind of dividends with the investment done by the either government or the industry or anyone. So a breakthrough was to be made, and the breakthrough thought was to increase the productivity. And the productivity increase happened through the efforts of industry, mainly ITC. The success of these plantations happened because of, particularly in the United Andhra Pradesh, is because of few reasons. Number one was the Andhra Pradesh was struggling with the antisocial problem, and a lot of people were leaving their lands barren without attending to them. The antisocial elements means the nationalism, and many people, the government officers, whoever are there, they were not able to take the cultivation because of these antisocial problems. There were many absentee landlords also who left their land uncultivated for a longer time, particularly the working class in the government or the people who have gone abroad and all that. There were many fallow lands of that nature. And there were very many reflective sites. When I used to travel from Guntur to Nellore, I used to see barren lands without much of crops because of the droughts and kind of soil kind of problems there, where high pH soils, which are not helping either the crop growing or the tree growing. So such scenario was there, and the planning was done in such a beautiful way because the fertile lands at that time were not available, and it was rather to say that to divert fertile lands to cultivation of these tree species was thought to be a very bad process. The fertile lands are required for growing food crops rather than tree crops. So this was the scenario, and these opportunities gave to raise the plantations, refractory sites, absentee landlord sites and all that. And the social forestry or the farm forestry started picking up with the improved productivity clones and all that. That was the scenario with which I was joined to do this productivity improvement. Now, this is how the for the wood, what they require. There were not many industries, even in the paper industries also, not many people were doing the required thing. Then looking at the ITC chapter, many industries came forward and started their own productivity improvement program and a species improvement program, and then the cycle succeeded doing that. And this is continuing and is a very good thing to happen. Even the plywood industries like Hunsur Ply and others are planting now genetically improved seed sources, either clones or seeds provided by the government institutions and developed through their own efforts. That's a good thing to happen. Now we have come to a stage where these plantations have succeeded, and farm forestry or the social forestry or agroforestry has become a very big success and becoming the backbone for the industries to get the raw material required as per the enunciation of policy, forest policy, that raw material requirement of the industry should meet with their own efforts. That was a good thing to happen in our country, be it north, be it south. And south has led in the wood generation efforts or the plantation generation efforts beautifully. This is how we have come to a stage. Now, the mismatch was happening is that many good plantations have happened. As Murthy Sahab also said that we are wood surplus state and all that. Even Haryana became wood surplus state. Likewise, in Andhra Pradesh also, the scenario of that nature happened that there were not many investments happening in the industry side to keep the growth of plantations happening in all the states, southern states. The anticipated pulp and paper mills have not come. So also not many big industries of that nature in plywood sector also has come. Only small players were there, and they were all not gathered together to face the challenge of taking forward farm forestry. Now, that was the old situation, which has at least stabilized to a certain extent the agroforestry efforts in our country. I now would like to come to the state of current situation. See, my statistics says that in Andhra Pradesh, divided Andhra Pradesh, nearly 3 lakh hectares of standing plantations of pulpwood species, mainly eucalyptus, subahul, casuarina, were raised. And this was meeting more than the required quantity, and 45 lakh ton of wood per annum is harvested from Andhra Pradesh itself. The paper industry's requirement was 100 lakh ton of wood, and 45 lakh ton is met only from few districts, 3-4 districts of Andhra Pradesh. This was such a wonderful thing, and the many books have been written on this scenario, especially wood market developing in Ongole wood market, like the Yamunanagar market in the north. So Ongole was the leading things, and there were many wood contractors who took forward harvesting, logging, and supply, and they were very big persons, so-called middlemen, who were ruling. Even they were running the industries to a certain extent. That much I can say. They were ministers, and they were highly moneyed people who were influencing the wood trade. Wood trade was happening, but the plantations per se were not happening to the required extent. And as it is a cyclical thing in plantations and industries, sometimes the prices go up, sometimes the prices come down. So also the plantations of that nature happen. Now the scenario is bad. In 18, 19, 20, because of the shortages faced in 2012, the wood industry started importing chips from other countries, and the prices went up to 6,500, and plantations started happening. There was a lot of nurseries of colonial plantations were come up in Andhra Pradesh itself, and many plantations happened during that time, 13, 14, 15. It created a glut in 18, 19, 20. And because of the few mills closure on account of the non-viability, as well as the COVID situation, the farmers who planted that en masse, there was no requirement and wood became glut, which led to the fall in prices. I am surprised even the prices went so low to 1,500 per ton, where the farmer was left unattended to for his whatever returns he expected. high and dry. Farmer was left high and dry by this situation. And so the effect happened in Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. I read a report very recently that 40% of plantations have been uprooted. Now you see the 3 lakh hectares plantations uprootal is nearly 1,20,000 hectares plantation have been uprooted. These farmers have shifted to either other tobacco, cotton, chili type of crops in Andhra Pradesh. Similar is the situation in Karnataka. As rightly pointed out, the wood availability is there, but the wood demand is not there by Mr. Murthy Sahib. The farmers started uprooting there also in Karnataka. Recent figure is around 20 to 25,000 hectares of eucalyptus plantations have been uprooted. Now this wood will not be available to the industry. Now this is a very sad situation, I can say. Now sustainability depends upon the demand and supply, and sustainable supply, continuous supply has to be required. So plantation has to be taken up. Now this scenario has to somehow stabilize it. How do we do it? Is the question. I have worked with the prices for a certain extent, and I feel that it is not good to pay the farmer at 1,500. We have to have some benchmark price. Today's benchmark price, according to me, at least 3,000 to 3,500 rupees per ton. If it is the benchmark price, the farmer will be motivated to keep the plantations going on. If it's more, it's quite good. Yeah.
Sir, excuse me. This benchmark price is your
for farmer, farm sector, not mill delivered price. It is the farmer's price.
For the pulp industry or for the pulp industry or in general?
Mainly pulp and paper,
right,
because they are the largest consumers today in this. Yeah. So the benchmark price should be 3,000 to 3,500, and with which whatever today, unfortunately, the transport cost is going, the labor cost is going. So industry has to pay more on this account, but they have to pay. These are the fixed costs which they have to pay. But the farmer, they should not bring down the prices below this. This is my specific point to be made. This will definitely augur well to the farming community, and they take up many good plantations. I would like to submit to the Karnataka Forest Department also. There are some wrong things happened on ban on eucalyptus. Why they should ban eucalyptus? See, banning is a very bad practice according to me. See, in tobacco cultivation, farmers also start left and right if they are allowed to plant. Tobacco is a cash crop. So unlimited growth of tobacco started happening, and there are no purchasers, and the prices of tobacco were also crashing down. The government at that time established a tobacco board, stating that tobacco board has been mandated to fix how much tobacco they should grow. So it is known as mechanism to regulate the production. So in that scenario, the Karnataka Forest Department should regulate eucalyptus cultivation rather than banning it totally. I have submitted this view to the industries, to submit it to the government of Karnataka to regulate eucalyptus cultivation. Okay, if you think that eucalyptus is very bad in Kolar areas, okay, ban it in Kolar area, but why other areas? So this is what is thought about, and the High Court has also heard these pleas, and I think the ban on eucalyptus should be lifted. It is not good. Such bans will not promote agroforestry. Number two is Tamil Nadu Forest Department has banned eucalyptus transport from their state to other states. Such bans will not help in taking forward the agroforestry in the scenario. If the ban is lifted, the other states which are deprived of the wood will go to Tamil Nadu and procure the wood. What is the point? They say that we have to safeguard our own industry and own domestic supply of the state, and therefore we don't want to give this wood to others. This is no good. This will not help to anyone. This is what I would like to place before the August gathering over here, to take forward that all such bans are not required and they are not good in the interest of farming, agroforestry, as well as what to call the industries too. Now, coming to Milia dubia, good species, fine, but Milia dubia, as per my statistics, not more than 10,000 hectares of plantations have happened in Karnataka and border of these things. Still with that, they feel that wood is in glut and not being procured. Something has to be done on this aspect. If this species is good, then the plywood industry should procure. And as per the figures given by Mr. Murthy sir, is there are only 2 plywood industries and their requirement may not go beyond, say, 12 lakh ton of wood. So we need to also keep in mind and not allow farmers just to do rapid plantations and face that there is no buyer kind of a situation. So industry should make some efforts in linking the farmers and plantations from their own end. In ITC, we started doing this because when the wood started in glut, farmers planted on their own, taking up the planting material from the private industries, and the collectors used to call us, so why are you not buying the wood from these people? So we said that we will buy the wood from the farmer whom we have promoted. We had all the data, we had passbooks of farmers' passbooks issued. The first priority we give to those farmers. We are not going to buy from XYZ. That is what, so industry have to have a wonderful tie-up of this nature for sustainable supply of raw material to them. This is my plea. The industry should take forward, issuing the passbooks to farmers to whom they are promoting. At least they are guaranteed of the supply. This is a kind of thing. Now, I come to a very peculiar situation. We also talked about the middlemen. I was also, when the wood becomes short in supply, we have promoted plantations. So I proposed to my company that we should start a logging department on our own. Right? You understand this? Logging department means we had a raw material procurement department already there. We had also a department, plantation department, which is doing R&D as well as producing the planting material required for meeting the requirement of industry plus 20% more for others to use. So then this logging department we discussed a lot. This will help that each industry, if it has its logging department, the wood which is logged is scientifically harvested from the farmer's field, because farmer has to look for the person on his own. Farmer, he cannot fell, he cannot transport till the factory gates. So industry, if he has a logging department, they can go as per their list, pay them the maximum price, whatever they have decided to pay for the farming community, and then harvest the wood. There will be a lot of losses in the present system of harvesting the wood, which will not happen. The optimization of wood harvest will also happen. So this was a beautiful concept. Unfortunately, when the middlemen or the contractors came to know that this bugger is talking about this, their business will collapse. And I know the music I faced from this middleman was, who is this fellow? What is he talking about? We'll see at the end. All these things started happening in Andhra Pradesh. So now that those big people are not there, there are very small payers of contractors and all that. If industry wants sustainability and sustainable supply for their wood, this is a suggestion which I am putting forward, so that the farmer is getting the loggers to their farm, either the industry, but industry says, oh, it is a very high cost. We have to run and keep this department going and all that. So it is a cost. Anyway, the call has to be taken by the industry. I can only suggest there's a beautiful model of this nature to overcome the middleman kind of a problem. And if you want to sustain middleman is not a person that he is also running a business, helping and serving the farmer, and he is becoming the bridge between the industry and the farmer. So he is not a bad man. He is, sometimes he has his own cost. He has to run the labor, equipment, transport, and a kind of scenario. So either we rationalize, sit with him with a partnership. This will also help in a better way. So the farmer, the middleman, the industry have to have a good association to succeed, making more and more agroforestry plantations in southern state. So this is what, in brief, I wanted to share my thought process. Thank you very much. One more thing, sorry, I wanted to add is the species, other species. 2 years back, we have listed 22 good species for plywood and face veneer and all that. Effort has to happen. We cannot live with only 1 or 2 species. And now, why eucalyptus we are talking about? Good. How long we can talk about only one species? It runs into biological problems like gall disease. It may run into problem of bans. Then you must have an alternate strategy of different species. You must have at least 10 species to count with. And we have given a list. So let IFGTB, let industries start doing things afresh, bringing in new species in cultivation. And preference should be given to indigenous species. So indigenous species are agroclimatically stable, and they will give the required kind of wood. Research is required. IFGTB has to help and support industry on these species utilization. And IFGTB should become the flag bearer to take up these plantations afresh and on a large scale. So this is one more plea I would like to place before the gathering over here. So thank you very much again. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your wise words and suggestions from your end. It really matters a lot for the industry when a person of your stature provides inputs in such detailed manner. And the key points which I noted, there are 22 species which have been identified to be good for face veneers, which is a very important matter which can be deliberated upon. And so with this, I would like to ask Bharati Saab to give an introduction to Dr. Kulkarni Saab, because I went straight to Dr. Kulkarni Saab for the discussion. Bharati Saab, please.
हमारे डॉक्टर कुलकर्णी साहब, डॉक्टर हर्ष कुमार कुलकर्णी, फॉरेस्ट और इन्वायरमेंट के फ्रीलांस कंसल्टेंट हैं। अभी आईटीसी लिमिटेड से वाइस प्रेसिडेंट प्लांटेशन के पद से रिटायर होने से पहले उन्होंने ट्री इम्प्रूवमेंट पर रिसर्च करते हुए यूक्लिप्टस के 107 क्लोन, केसुरिना के 15 और सुबाबोल के 12 क्लोन इन्होंने रिलीज किए थे। एग्रो फॉरेस्ट्री, फार्म फॉरेस्ट्री के अंदर 1,65,000 हेक्टेयर से अधिक पल्पवुड प्लांटेशन को प्रमोट किया था। डॉक्टर कुलकर्णी को इसीलिए भारत में फादर ऑफ यूकलिप्टस क्लोनर फॉरेस्ट्री भी कहा जाता है। डॉक्टर कुलकर्णी ने 22,000 हेक्टेयर एग्रो फॉरेस्ट्री प्लांटेशन के लिए उन्हें फॉरेस्ट स्टीवार्डशिप काउंसिल फॉरेस्ट मैनेजमेंट सर्टिफिकेशन भी मिला है। डॉक्टर कुलकर्णी हमेशा से कार्बन न्यूट्रलिटी में सक्रिय रूप से कार्यरत हैं। अब विभिन्न उद्योगों को एमिशन ऑफसेट प्रोग्राम में सलाह देने के अलावा देश विदेश जैसे केनिया, इथियोपिया, तंजानिया के वुड बेस्ड इंडस्ट्रीज को कंसल्टेंसी दे रहे हैं। विभिन्न पत्र पत्रिकाओं में इनके द्वारा लिखे हुए 180 से अधिक लेख प्रकाशित हो चुके हैं। तो डॉक्टर कुलकर्णी साहब को अभी हमने सुना, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Saab. Now, I would like to invite Bharti Saab to introduce Dr. Nicodemus of IFGTB Coimbatore. Dr. Nicodemus, you may kindly share your wisdom on agroforestry practices used in Tamil Nadu, which have been of significance to the wood-based industries, and how we can go forward. Bharti Saab,
okay. Dr. A. Nicodemus, young, energetic, IFGTB Institute of Forest Genetics and Tree Breeding कोयम्बटूर के जेनेटिक्स एंड ट्री इम्प्रूवमेंट डिपार्टमेंट में साइंटिस्ट जी के पद पर कार्यरत हैं। फॉरेस्ट जेनेटिक्स और ट्री ब्रीडिंग में डॉक्टर निकोडेमस सन 1990 से रिसर्च कर रहे हैं। उन्होंने कैसुरिना स्पेसीज और उनके हाइब्रिड्स के नए क्लोन रिलीज किए हैं जो संपूर्ण भारत में प्लांटिंग किए जाते हैं और उनसे महत्वपूर्ण उत्पादन वृद्धि हुई है। डॉक्टर निकोडेमस IUFRO वर्किंग पार्टी के कोऑर्डिनेटर हैं। IUFRO इंटरनेशनल यूनियन ऑफ फॉरेस्ट रिसर्च ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जो 125 देशों में 700 मेंबर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन और 15,000 साइंटिस्ट को नियंत्रित करने वाली संस्था है। मेजर पेपर इंडस्ट्रीज के पल्पफुल प्रोडक्शन के कंसल्टेंसी प्रोजेक्ट से जुड़े हुए हैं। इनकी 2 पुस्तक प्रकाशित हो चुकी है और 3 बुक्स को एडिट कर चुके हैं। अपने ज्ञान को हमारे सामने प्रस्तुत करें।
Thank you so much. At the outset, I thank the organizers, WTA, Fly Insight, for inviting me, and also putting the focus on South India. That's very timely and encouraging, and also it makes us to think very specifically. When you say South India, the poplar is out. Maybe Sisu is out, and makes us to think very focused. Working with industry, particularly paper industry for the last 20-25 years, and working closely with farmers in Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, in raising farm forestry, agroforestry plantations. If you look back the last 25 years, sort of a one generation time, we have fairly done well in production of wood, increasing the productivity. Particularly the pulpwood short rotation pulpwood productivity, we can say anywhere between 30% and 100% we have increased the productivity. It depends on which benchmark you are comparing. So we have improved. Today, the wood reaches a paper mill in South India. More than 2/3 come from an improved variety plantation. That is a good pioneers like Dr. Kulkarni started in the 80s, and we have come this far. And farmers are now asking by a variety's name to plant agroforestry plantation. That is all good signs. Now, periodically, the varieties are being released every 5 to 7 years getting replaced. That's good. Diversity is increased. Research is on. These are all very good. With that kind of productivity improvement also, still I would say, from a researcher's gut feeling, I would say the potential of the land and the potential of the species we are using, perhaps we are using 50% of the potential. So much we can still improve and go ahead. That's there. So this is the experience from which we can learn. What is that we can do for the future? Particularly from the paper industries, working closely with farmers, raising industrial agroforestry plantations. And today they are self-sufficient in producing raw material. The kind of periodic productivity improvement in productivity should take care of any increase in the raw material requirement also for them. So the ply species are just in the beginning. Its impact is as a researcher, my experience is that you can do research, you can produce a good technology, planting technology, you can produce a good variety. Even industry like ITC, TNPL, they have very good R&D. You can do. The research you can do. But the reach is only possible with the industry. The reaching that with the actual growers is possible only with the industry. If the industry is not there, you can't reach that to the growers. So the presence of ply industry need to be felt more in the days to come in Tamil Nadu particularly. Already the framework of pulp industry is there, so you can integrate. So that is the first thing I would share from my experience. And second thing is partly this research also should be done jointly by industry and the research group. Here a variety is developed by a research group, then they give it to an industry or give it to farmers, and then industry takes some time to actually watch that. And rather than that, the industry gives a requirement list, to-do list to the researcher, and then it is jointly done, jointly evaluated, so that no time is lost to take the good material to the farmer. That is that way, because nowadays it takes so much of time, even short rotation species for 10-15 years for a new variety to actually be developed. So that's one area where we can learn from how the pulpwood industry created new varieties. And the third thing is we talk a lot about area. One side we talk more area is needed to plant agroforestry. On the other side, we also talk there is so much of wood are not takers. Both the extremes we hear. In many other forums we hear. Actually, one is not a counter to other. Both exist. And there are several reasons why these situations exist. First thing, the raw material, when we say raw material, tree and wood is a biological raw material, means the paper making process and the plywood making process actually starts in the farmland, not in the mill. It starts there. So that is the attitude we have to have. What the industry wants is the process starts in the farmer's field. You can have whatever quality you have, you can start from there. Now what happens, in any way cultivated tree ends up the log yard of the industry. They try to convert that into the product of their tree. So many of this branching, knotting, the color for face, everything can be achieved in the next generation of improvement varietal development. The past 30 years, it is only the quantity, because we were not sure who will buy the material. Industry was not sure if what they promote will come back to them. So it was just grow a large amount of wood and then process it. But the next, the experience what we are learning is that now you can tailor make trees and to suit the end use, and they can buy. Even this tropical trees especially have that diversity within them. You can choose for whatever you want. The same Melia dubia, a variety can grow faster, put a bigger gut. It can give you core, a lot of core for you. But another variety can grow, put up less volume, but actually it will have deep color. You can have the face. So provided you can incentivize the farmer, and then these growing them together are in suitable areas is possible. So that it should be the next 30 years, that your product processing starts in the farmer's field, not after the wood reaches your factory. That kind of an attitude, what you have to take. So it also again will take us, if farmers have to do that way. I think the plantations have to be in the coming days multi-purpose. So we only talk about trees as multi-purpose. One tree is serving many purposes, but the plantation has to be multi-purpose. In the days to come, calling pulpwood plantation separately, plywood plantation separately, timber plantations separately may be a luxury. So you can actually combine. You can. Why farmers plant medium-term, long-term species like Melia dubia and teak in a very close spacing and refusing to thin, and then end up loss or produce low quality wood which industry finds less valuable or puts more effort to convert into product. So actually the thin material has no value, so they are reluctant, or they are investing so much on the planting stock and unwilling to remove. So actually you put a short rotation species in combination with the medium rotation and short rotation. You can harvest, you can have one harvest and then you can have a revenue, and you can also tend the medium and long rotation species to put less branches and put higher clear. So several innovations can be done with available material, not to do a long-term research. Many things can be done, but it needs the perfect understanding between the research group and the industry and the farmer. And the final reach, again, I would stress, unless industry is not in the field, the reach will never happen. That's the experience we get from 30 years of productive improvement in pulp, and many pioneers like Dr. Kulkarni, that they would vouch for that. So this is for South India. So what has been achieved in short rotation should be replicated in medium term and long term for the ply and other solid wood industry. I think it should be easier to do in South India because of the groundwork has already been done. The template is already there. So that is the my insights for sort of a general observation on the plank on which we can move to enhance the returns from output from agroforestry, satisfying the wood-based industry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nicodemus, sir. One of the key points which we have come across in your sharing of inputs is presence of plywood industry needs to be felt by the farmers. So this is a very input for the association. So in this regard, I would like to come to our Siraj Asger Sahab, who is also representing SIPMA today. By this Sahab, kindly introduce Asger Sahab for us.
Okay, thank you. Siraj Asger Sahab. स्क्रीन पे नहीं दिख रहे मुझे. सिराज असगर अली साहब मुफाडेल टिम्बर एंड एलाइड प्रोडक्ट प्राइवेट लिमिटेड के एमडी हैं और 1980 से साउथ इंडिया प्लाईवुड मैन्युफैक्चरर एसोसिएशन को नई ऊंचाइयों तक ले जाने के लिए लगातार संघर्ष कर रहे हैं. कर्नाटक में फॉरेस्ट रूल्स में रिलैक्सेशन और प्लाईवुड के लिए टिम्बर प्लांटेशन को प्रमोट करने के लिए सिपमा का प्लेटफॉर्म यूज करते हुए सिराज साहब की दूरदर्शी सोच की वजह से ही वहां पे प्लाईवुड इंडस्ट्री के लिए प्लांटेशन टिम्बर काफी मात्रा में उपलब्ध है। तो डॉक्टर सिराज साहब मुझे स्क्रीन पे दिख नहीं रहे।
Siraj sahab, are you connected? Hello, Siraj sahab, are you connected?
Yes.
I think he's disconnected from the connection.
Okay. So I think he got disconnected. So I think we will switch to Shawaz Mohammed sir's input regarding the experiences he has had in procuring timber and agroforestry, because Shawaz bhai has also been active in some of the environmental movements in Bangalore city. So Bharti sahab, I would like you to introduce Shawaz sahab, please.
शवाज साहब जो हमारे यहाँ अभी इस पैनल में सबसे यंग एंड एनर्जेटिक एंटरप्रेन्योर हैं, एक्सपर्टाइज इंडस्ट्रीज मैंगलोर के ओनर मिस्टर सवाज मोहम्मद, जिनका ब्रांड केडीएम साउथ इंडिया का जाना पहचाना नाम है, अपने आप में एक डायनामिक एंटरप्रेन्योर है। केडीएम ब्रांड की क्वालिटी को हमेशा उच्चतर बना के रखने के साथ साथ मिस्टर सवाज मैंगलोर सिटी में और इसके आसपास एनवायरनमेंट रिलेटेड एक्टिविटीज जैसे मैंगलोर फ्लावर सिटी जैसे प्रोग्राम से जुड़े हुए हैं। इसीलिए इनके विजन को जानना सुनना हमारे दोनों चीज के लिए, इंडस्ट्री के लिए और एनवायरनमेंट के लिए, दोनों के लिए ही बहुत लाभदायक रहेगा। प्लीज सर।
Thank you, Insight, Plywood Insight, and all the panel members, Vaidya ji, and everybody for giving me this opportunity. Actually, Suraj ji may be dynamic, but I am not so young also, because I have to tell you this because people will not listen to me. Otherwise. So I have got about 15 years of experience in this plywood field, and we are into plywood, blockboard, and flush door manufacturing. And we usually use eucalyptus, neem, and rubber and silver. These are the 4 species based on agroforest what we are using. And basically, for farmers, I would like to say, because of its nature, one is eucalyptus is because of its high quality of end product, because plywood made out of eucalyptus is heavier and good, durable, and all those things. Neem, because we get a higher yield on the face core and even the face veneer we use that one. And rubber, because it's amply available in the market and also gives a good density in the plywood. So I feel rubber, if it is treated, I think Vaidya can, am I right that if you do the VPT treatment, it is nothing like rubber. Rubber is quite good enough, I feel, for density.
Yeah, that Shawaz bhai, what is your experience about
till now, we, by the grace of God and with thanks to our farmers, till now we have not faced any major issues on the timber procurement till now. Okay. So there is no issue about that, because we are located in the border of Karnataka and Kerala. So, so we have no issues regarding these things.
Are you feeling milia dubia for face veneer?
No, sometimes we do. We do a job work. We buy milia dubia and we do a job work because we don't have 8-feet pillar in our factory.
Okay, so have you found any problems in sourcing face veneers from Melia dubia. Do you think we have sufficient for South at least, for say South at least we have the requirement of Melia dubia which can be peeled into face veneers?
Yes, see, actually there is ample, but we are not utilizing this Melia dubia as a face veneer because Indian customers they were strictly into Gurjan face till now. But thank God from 2-3 years they started switching up to Okume face veneer. But again, neem they are not accepting much in the market. If,
do you think as industry, as part of the industry, we can play a role in changing the consumer behavior? So, because why I would like to ask you this is because as far as plywood is concerned, the real consumers are not our consumers, manufacturers' consumers. So there is somewhere something is missing in between, some kind of communication is missing in between, which keeps the consumer, that is so-called consumers. I would like to suggest that there is a middle path to consumerism in plywood, and this middle path is what decides which face veneer to be there, which core veneer to be there. So how do you think we can involve the consumers better for a better information communication?
See, one thing is India is such a market that they are mostly based on brand wise. No, actually, in India, if you ask me about cement, I will know maximum ultra tech or ACC. So similarly, when you go and ask with the end user about plywood, they will know green or century. That's all, or some other brand or something. So these are the people who are making the basic impact on the market. So they started with the Okume. It slowly shifted to the Okume. People started accepting. Now, neem also, these people have to, the brand name, basically the brand people have to start promoting the neem. So then this will be more useful to, and fast we can apply this in the market. This will be accepted in the market. If the brands also, major brands also accept.
So, Shawaz, with regard to Dr. Nicodemus' statement that farmers need to feel the presence of plywood industry at the farm for our requirements based on our timber specifications, etc. So, how do you think SIPMA, as a South Indian Plywood Manufacturer Association, as part of our, that is our flag bearer of the South Indian plywood manufacturing industry? So, how do you think SIPMA can create some initiative to have a better link directly with the farmers?
What happens is the ultimates. I mean, I had planned a small, some presentation, but no problem. I'll just finish off with Vaidya's discussion. It's a good thing we had. So, first thing is, now the problem of agroforest has to be solved with jointly together. It is something like we are putting everything on the farmers. It is something who is going to build the cat. Now farming has to be done. Everybody is telling farmer have to build the cat. That Hindi there's a proverb, right? That is building of this. Who is going to build the cat? You heard of that popular phrase. Yeah. So everybody is putting that blame. Farmers have to do. But I say jointly we have to do something like the industrialist has to catch the leg of one leg of the cat, and NGOs should catch another leg of the cat, and government has to catch the head of the cat. Then the farmer has to tie the bell. So this is a joint approach. What we can do together.
Right. Joint approach.
Yeah.
So that
you yourself have done some organizations of plantation and timber, but we together should join together and do a very big organization with NGOs and putting lot of inputs. Like earlier we had something called as the Heggen Valley, India, where what they do is they collect a small money from any end user and they guarantee a return after 10 years or 15 years. In this 1,500 rupees they collect, and they plant a tree costing over 1,000, some teak or something, and they give you the monitoring. What is the growth of that tree? Within after 1 year, they will give a report. This tree has grown to this extent. After 10 years, they say the value of this tree is so much. So this type of strategy has to be worked out, involving everybody. That is, industrialist, government has to support with the ground, the land, and all the industrialists, because this is a common platform. See, I understand now in SIPMA. Let me be very frank. When it comes to business, every industry, they look other industry as a competitor. So SIPMA, Moiz bhai, you're also very aware, because we are not very active in SIPMA, because Moiz bhai or even Siraj bhai, they do a lot of work behind SIPMA, but members are not too active, because this is they are involved in all things. In SIPMA, it is like people are thinking, it is, let me be very frank, including us. We think other people are competitors, so they don't want to share certain information. Okay, I may be a bit harsh, but this is a harsh reality. But in this thing, which the agroforest thing, what I'm saying is, we need to unite in this. We live in one planet, right? All the manufacturers, they stay in the one planet. Our children, they are not staying in a different planet. So in future, if you want a good supply of timber, if you want what you say, your sustainability, also our social responsibilities we not to fulfill, we have to unite together and do it in a very big platform. This one, others, this won't happen. You see in leading countries like Canada and Australia, you see they are agroforest. Acres and acres, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 acres, with the high-tech, innovations on, drone irrigation they have. Then, scientists and everybody is involved, and they do it in a very, very crop rotation. They do, like this tree is cut, again it is replanted, and even the people are associated with this. Some resource can be also developed in them. End user, anybody who wants to invest, I told you, like Hagen Valley, that type of forum can be created with this. And even I think Green India, one group was there, same thing. So end user, anybody is interested to plant, take 1,500 or some small amount and give them a refund, like after 10 years or 5 years or 15 years when the tree is grown. But that volume has to be very big. Because
So Shawaz bhai, sorry to interrupt. So Shawaz bhai, you are saying that we have to form a big organization and treat agrowood as a common resource, just as the air we breathe and the water we use. So keeping competitions aside, the industry association or some big organization which you are suggesting to be formed has to treat agroforestry as a single largest resource for this industry as well as for years to come. So this is what Shawaz bhai is saying, and I would like to invite Asger Ali Sahab, if he is connected now, to give his inputs on this. I think Asger Ali Sahab is not there in the forum right now, so we would like to request Moiz Sahib to give his some comments on the organization kind of setup for agroforestry in South.
Thank you very much. Before I do that, I would like to answer a few pertinent points which have been raised by the panelists here. If you don't mind it, can I do that? Okay.
Yes, sir, please.
Yes. Number one, the price point of view, as far as the melia is concerned, I'm not talking about eucalyptus and other things, but especially in melia, because it is being promoted by the, it is being promoted largely. The price at the moment ruling for the billets, that is for the P-level billets for 53 inches, which we call it, is 7,500 rupees a ton. And this is the price in the market. So the farmer is getting approximately about 4,000 to 5,000 rupees a ton on his field. So this is what is the one thing which was I was told that there is no takers for this. There are lots of takers for it. Number two, what is the reason why the plantations are uprooted? Because what has happened, the forest department, I'm sorry to say that, have promoted this species in a region when there are no industries are existing over. So what the farmer will do after growing them? There is no industry there. So ultimately the farmer, they are phoning to us all the way from North Karnataka, which is about 600, 700, 800 kilometers away from us to take the timber. If you transport it, there is no, the cost is very, very high. So in the region where the industry is existing, there are plenty of, there is no dearth of dearth about this, and everybody is very happy. They are growing it also. I'm talking about the region of this region. This is the Mysore, Mandya, Malavalli, and all these regions. Okay. So there is absolutely no problem. The people are growing it. They come and ask us for the seedlings, and we give it to them. They supply them the seedlings also, and there is no problem about this. And the price which we are paying, but the billets is 7,000, but for the big logs, they are paying up to 15,000 rupees a ton, because milia is 30 cubic foot per ton. 130 cubic foot per ton is the weight of the milia per ton. We are paying up to 15,000 rupees a ton. We are paying. The farmer is getting definitely a very good benefit out of this, no doubt about it. Then comes the number of factories. I think Dr. Murthy Sahib has mentioned that there are 2 units only in the Karnataka which are taking it. Is not true. There are more than 100 units today in the Karnataka. In Mangalore region alone, there are more than 70 units, which are large units, which are not small units. And they are getting the benefits of all these supplies. Okay, that is a very interesting point which I want to make it. It is not that 2 units are there. Of course, Hunsur is a very old unit. The other unit is talking about is also very new, but there are more than 70 units are there which are in existence for a long time now. It is not only 2 units. So this is a very important thing which has to be understood. And the price regarding the silver oak, the price, sir, with the kind due respect to you, right at the moment, ruling in the market is more than 400 rupees a cubic foot. It is not 100 rupees a cubic foot. Plenty of silver oak is available here. It is going outside the state, but the price is at the moment ruling price is more than 400 rupees a cubic foot. 350 for small girth logs, round up to 450 rupees for the larger logs. This is the price ruling on the silver oak. So silver oak is not big, is too viable for the plywood industry at the moment. That is the reason less and less used as the timber for the plywood, and more milia is being used for the plywood at the moment. So this is a very important point which I wanted to make. Another one thing is, when we grow, that is a number of units, number of species, and face. Milia generates one of the best faces in the industry. It is very well accepted. 100% of the plywood manufactured by my factory is all faces are all milia only. Not only me, but today I know of another 2 or 3 units which have come only to produce the faces and supply faces in the market. Faces thickness of the face is 0.7 millimeter, not 0.3 millimeter. 0.3 millimeter is not acceptable. Everybody knows about it, but because it is so expensive, that is the reason why the people go for the thin faces, 0.28. It was a garjan, because it can be peeled into that particular thickness. All ukume which can be peeled to that thickness. We have used garjan face, we have used ukume face, and we are using now the milia face. And we find the milia is the best face, not ukume. Ukume is a very light. It fades out very fast. When you sand it, it just goes away just like that. Milia is not like that. Milia is a very firm, good face you get with milia. And we have no problem about the marketing of the milia with the milia face. Absolutely, 100% no marketing problem. In fact, today my factory is running more than 100% capacity at the moment. Okay, so so there is this misnomer which we have got, especially in Shawaz, is not correct. Milia is very well accepted in the market. Absolutely, there is no problem. Okay, so with this, can you tell me whatever you want to be asked me? I will give you the prize for.
Sir, we would like to go to the next panelist. We have got Dharmendra Dokia Sahab of Green Panel and Dr. Ajay Thakur also waiting. So we'll go to them and then come back to the short discussion, sir. So I would like to invite Dharmendra Dokia Sahab to share a few words about the South Indian agroforestry practices and way forward with regard to his experiences. Moiz Sahab, kindly introduce Dokia Sahab.
Yeah, please. धर्मेंद्र डोकिया साहब ग्रीन पैनल के रॉ मटेरियल डिवीजन के वाइस प्रेसिडेंट हैं। राजस्थान में जन्मे और पंजाब में एग्रीकल्चर इंजीनियरिंग की डिग्री लेने के बाद में मैनेजमेंट में फॉरेस्ट्री में स्पेशलाइज के बल्लारपुर पेपर इंडस्ट्री में बांस के उत्पादन और प्लांटेशन डिवीजन में इनका 30 सालों का अनुभव है। धर्मेंद्र जी एग्रो फॉरेस्ट्री में प्रोडक्टिविटी इम्प्रूवमेंट के लिए नए विचारों का हमेशा स्वागत करते हैं और इनका ध्येय रहता है कि कंपनी के नजदीक के क्षेत्र में एग्रो फॉरेस्ट्री डेवलप किए जाएं ताकि रॉ मटेरियल की सस्टेनेबल सप्लाई पर हमेशा फोकस रहे। डोकिया साहब प्लीज अपने विचार रखें, कृपया अनम्यूट करें अपने आप को।
नमस्कार।
नमस्कार।
Sorry, I joined a bit late in the session. Can you hear me? Is it audible?
थोड़ी सी आवाज कट के तो आ रही है, फिर भी ठीक है।
Ajay.
हाँ जी।
Ballarpur Industries, I worked for 17 years, JK I worked for 13 years. मेरा अनुभव इतना ही है कि कोई भी वुड बेस्ड इंडस्ट्री बिना अपना वुड रिसोर्स चाहे वो इंडस्ट्री हो, एनडीएफ इंडस्ट्री हो, पेपर इंडस्ट्री हो, दुनिया भर में हर इंडस्ट्री को अपना रिसोर्स बनाना ही पड़ेगा, प्लांटेशंस करनी ही पड़ेंगी। इंडोनेशिया है, कुछ कैप्टिव प्लांटेशंस वाले हैं, चाइना में है, कुछ कैप्टिव प्लांटेशन के हैं, ब्राजील की पेपर मिले हैं, कैप्टिव प्लांटेशंस प्लस एग्रो फॉरेस्ट्री दोनों है, थाईलैंड की पेपर मिले एग्रो फॉरेस्ट्री वाली है, इंडिया की पेपर मिले एग्रो फॉरेस्ट्री पे डिपेंडेंट है, जो पेपर इंडस्ट्री ने खुद डेवलप की है अपने कैचमेंट एरिया में। सो किसी भी प्रकार की इंडस्ट्री अगर कोई ये सोचे कि हम तो पहले का बना हुआ रिसोर्स है उस पे निर्भर करके बड़े लॉन्ग टर्म तक चल सकते हैं या किसी और के बनाए हुए रिसोर्स पे लॉन्ग टर्म तक चल सकते हैं, वैसा संभव नहीं है। हर इंडस्ट्री को अपना रिसोर्स अपने कैचमेंट में 100 किलोमीटर में डेवलप करना ही पड़ेगा। आज जो नॉर्थ इंडिया में सिचुएशन फेस हो रही है वो इसीलिए हो रही है, कोई भी उसको नहीं करना चाहता। तो कुछ नर्सरीज हैं नॉर्थ में 4-5 दिन की है, सियोटी की है या इलाजी की है या कुछ और पॉपुलर की और खड़ी हो जाती है जब सीजन ठीक आता है, तो उनको छोड़ के बड़ी नर्सरियां नहीं है। वुड बेस्ड इंडस्ट्री का अपना रोल नहीं है इसको खड़ा करने में। तो टॉपिक आज का ये है कि रोल ऑफ एग्रो फॉरेस्ट्री इन वुड बेस्ड इंडस्ट्रीज। उसमें तो कोई डाउट ही नहीं है, एग्रो फॉरेस्ट्री के बिना इंडिया में तो कोई वुड बेस्ड इंडस्ट्री नहीं चल सकती है। होना ये चाहिए कि रोल ऑफ वुड बेस्ड इंडस्ट्री इन डेवलपमेंट ऑफ एग्रो फॉरेस्ट्री। Research and development में
sorry sir, we have titled it as strategy in agroforestry for wood-based industries in South. Experiences and way forward.
Right.
Right, sir. Right.
So मेरा एक्सपीरियंस यही है कि एग्रोफॉरेस्ट्री के अपने कैचमेंट में 100 किलोमीटर के कैचमेंट में अगर नहीं कर सकते हैं, ना तो क्वालिटी आएगी और ना प्राइसेस का सस्टेनेबिलिटी बनेगा, क्वांटिटी का तो है ही है। So those industries who are not doing any effort right now, चाहे वो MDF है, प्लाईवुड है प्लीज स्टार्ट डूइंग इट, नहीं तो बहुत मुश्किल हो जाएगी। अगर TNPL को कहें, ITC को कहें या JK रायगढ़ की मिले या दूसरी JK की मिले है, इनको अगर टेम्पल्स ऑफ एग्रो फॉरेस्ट्री कहें तो काइंडली विजिट देम। ये लोग बहुत ओपन है। MDF इंडस्ट्री खास करके इसलिए रेफर कर रहा हूँ कि ये बड़े प्लांट्स आ रहे हैं अभी। प्लाईवुड कंज्यूमर्स आर 300 to 400 tons per day, but the NDF people who are coming are 1,000 tons per day or 1,500 tons per day or even 2,000 tons per day, which is a big consumption. These people have to start their farm forestry. First step of way forward is go and visit TNPL. Go and visit Vagh is a good Rama temple. The religious people who are keen on these things, religious tourism, please visit that. The God will be kind to give you idea and a confidence to start it. Most of these people don't have confidence to start it. That is the way forward. Go and visit Rayagada, go and visit Bhadrachalam temple, go and visit TNPL. By the time you reach these factories, you will have 50% confidence. Yes, this is doable and this is much needed. So that's all I want to say. Anyone who needs help in this, I am available. Dr. Kulkarni is available. We can guide you. But 4 years down the line, you will be remembering these conversations if you don't do it. Thank you.
Yes. Very, very positive words from Daukia Sab. Raise confidence, visit the big industries, TNPL, Bhadrachalam, Raigad, and excellent suggestions. Plywood industries can learn to cope up with the agroforestry requirements, especially regarding the north sector. So in this regard, मैं बिमल चोपड़ा साहब को थोड़ा इनवाइट करना चाहूँगा कि what is his experience, inputs, and maybe things from these discussions for the north industry. भाती साहब थोड़ा इंट्रोड्यूस करेंगे प्लीज।
ओके सर। बिमल चोपड़ा जी सन 1995 से लकड़ी उद्योग से जुड़े हुए हैं। इनकी शुरुआत बिहार से हुई और जमुनानगर से सन 2000 से इनका जुड़ाव हुआ। मेट्रो प्लाईवुड से शुरू हुआ इनका सफर काफी विस्तृत हो चुका है। AR रूट क्राफ्ट, डूना पैनल, प्रगति इंडस्ट्री में प्लाईवुड, कमर्शियल प्लाईवुड और ट्रेनॉक्स लेमिनेट ज्वाइन किया है, जो पार्टिकल बोर्ड और MDF का उत्पादन कर रहे हैं। पिछले दिनों जमुनानगर में FRI और WTA के सहयोग से हुए इंडस्ट्री फार्मर्स मीट का आयोजन करवाने में बिमल जी ने काफी अहम भूमिका निभाई थी। बिमल जी काफी प्रैक्टिकल पर्सन है, इसलिए इन्हें न सिर्फ अपने ग्राहक, सप्लायर और कर्मचारियों का सहयोग मिलता है, बल्कि के दूसरे उद्योगपति भी उतना ही सम्मान करते हैं। बिमल जी, आपका स्वागत है, कृपया अपने विचार रखें।
धन्यवाद भारती जी, सम्मानित सभी पैनलिस्ट एवं WTA के जोली जी, आपका और भारती जी का जो बार बार प्रयास रहता है वो इंडस्ट्री के लिए काफी फायदेमंद है। इस तरह की वेबिनार आयोजित करके। मेरी आवाज आ रही है ना?
जी आ रही है।
आप लोग जो प्रयास कर रहे हैं ये हमारे लिए बहुत वरदान सिद्ध हो रहा है। इतना कुछ बड़े बड़े आदमियों का सुनने का और का सुलभ अवसर आप लोग दे रहे हैं, इसके लिए आपका और जोली जी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू सर।
दूसरा, आज हमारा यमुनानगर जो, मैं प्रैक्टिकल पहले यमुनानगर की बात करूंगा। हम लोग आज यहाँ की इंडस्ट्री बहुत ज्यादा तकलीफ में है और करीब 25-30% इंडस्ट्री यहाँ पर बंद हो चुकी है और 25-30% बंद होने के कगार पर है। जो टिम्बर की यहाँ शॉर्टेज है और प्राइसेस भी बहुत ज्यादा हो गए हैं, इसके दोषी हम लोग खुद ही हैं। हम लोगों ने अभी, जैसे धर्मेंद्र जी ने बताया कि हम लोगों ने प्रयास ही नहीं किया। यहाँ काफी छोटे स्केल पर कोई बड़ी इंडस्ट्री यहाँ थी नहीं। अब थोड़ी बहुत कुछ बड़ी बड़ी इंडस्ट्री आ रही है। एकदम इस छोटी छोटी इंडस्ट्री होने की वजह से हमने ये टिम्बर रिसोर्स का प्लांटेशन की तरफ ध्यान ही नहीं दिया। उसका नतीजा आज हम लोग भुगत रहे हैं। हमने ये हमारी एक बहुत बड़ी गलती थी। तो छोटी इंडस्ट्री होने की वजह से किसी ने ध्यान भी नहीं दिया, न कर पा रहे हैं। इसकी तरफ हमारी जो छोटी छोटी इंडस्ट्री है इनको ध्यान देना चाहिए। प्लांटेशन की तरफ जैसे यहाँ पर बीमको और आईटीसी ने ध्यान दिया था तो उसका हमें बेनिफिट मिला। वो बेनिफिट हम लोग उठाते चले गए। हमने हमारी गलतियों की वजह से आज हम इस पोजीशन में हैं। अब हमें इससे सीखना चाहिए कि जो साउथ की इंडस्ट्रियों ने जो काम किया वहाँ उनको इजी वे में टिम्बर मिल रहा है तो हमें क्यों नहीं मिल रहा है। अब भी हम अगर इसमें समझ जाएं तो बहुत आगे के लिए हमारा भविष्य ठीक हो सकता है। हमारी छोटी इंडस्ट्रियों को इस पर ध्यान देना चाहिए। ये चीज हमें इसमें सीख के समझ में आई है। ये आज जैसे बड़ी इंडस्ट्री इधर में थोड़ी सेंचुरी ग्रीन आई है, इन्होंने ध्यान दे रहे हैं, ये भी ध्यान दे रहे हैं। लेकिन अभी भी हमारी इंडस्ट्री वाले जो स्मॉल स्केल वाले हैं ये आज भी सोए हुए हैं। तो मेरा सबसे हमारी इंडस्ट्री वालों से ये है कि हम लोग इकट्ठे होकर के और इस पर प्रयास करें कि यहाँ नर्सरी और वो लगवाएं, प्लांटेशन करवाएं, जिससे हमारा आगे का भविष्य सुरक्षित हो सके। ये बहुत जरूरी है। और हमारी एरिया में लगे, 100-150 किलोमीटर एरिया में लगे, जिससे हमारे ट्रांसपोर्टेशन भी हमें सस्ता पड़े। और ये प्रयास हमें हम लोगों को करना चाहिए, तभी हम लोग कुछ आगे बढ़ सकते हैं। आगे दूसरा, मैं सरकार से भी इसमें एक निवेदन करना चाहूंगा आपके थ्रू कि सरकार यहाँ पर लाइसेंस खोल रही है, अच्छी बात है, खोले। यहाँ लाइसेंस की फीस रखी हुई है। मेरा सरकार से सुझाव है लाइसेंस की फीस नहीं रख के जिनको भी लाइसेंस देवे उनको एक प्लांटेशन के लिए उनको बॉन्ड करे कि भाई आपने इंडस्ट्री लगानी है तो इतनी एरिया में इतने प्लांटेशन आपको लगाने होंगे। उससे हमारे पर थोड़ा प्रेशर रहेगा। लाइसेंस लेने वाले और जो पुराने हैं उस सबको सरकार को थोड़ा सा हेलो हाँ
बोलिए सर।
ये अगर गवर्नमेंट अगर नए लाइसेंस के साथ फीस नहीं लेके या फीस ले और साथ साथ प्लांटेशन का एक लिमिटेशन कितनी एरिया में आपको कराना है या करना है, उससे हम लोग छोटी इंडस्ट्री वाले बन जाएं तो भी आगे हमारा भविष्य सुरक्षित हो सकता है। तो मेरा ये है आप लोगों के थ्रू एक सुझाव कि आगे सरकार के पास जाए कि नए लाइसेंस देवे लेकिन साथ साथ उनको प्लांटेशन के लिए बॉन्ड करें, तभी हम लोग यहाँ सुरक्षित हो सकते हैं। अदरवाइज तो हमने पूरी अपनी पैर उखाड़ लिए हैं। यहाँ बहुत स्थिति गंभीर है। ये मेरा एक सुझाव है और हमारी इंडस्ट्री का सुझाव है। और कम से कम साउथ को देखते हुए भी यहाँ कुछ सीखे। अब हमारे यहाँ इधर नॉर्थ में MDF के प्लांट भी काफी आ रहे हैं, आ गए हैं, काफी आने वाले हैं। तो कैसे चलेंगे, मेरे को तो स्थिति बहुत भयावह लग रही है। और लोग लगाने में इंटरेस्टेड है, प्लांटेशन की तरफ आज भी ध्यान नहीं है हमारी इंडस्ट्री का। तो इसमें हमारी इंडस्ट्री को बहुत जरूरी है कि लोग समझे, सीखे और आगे बढ़े। थोड़ा बहुत हम लोगों ने प्रयास किया, वो कुछ भी नहीं है, नहीं के बराबर किया जरूर है, लेकिन अभी बहुत कुछ करने की आवश्यकता है। और साउथ का हमारे पास एग्जाम्पल है जो आज वहाँ इंडस्ट्री ठीक ग्रो कर रही है। ठीक है, धन्यवाद भाई जी। यही मेरे
बहुत अच्छा इनपुट है चोपड़ा साहब की लाइसेंस के जगह पे प्लांटेशन का मैंडेट
जी, इससे हम बच सकते हैं। और हमें जब तक सरकार बांधेगी नहीं तब तक हम कुछ नहीं करेंगे, छोटी इंडस्ट्री वाले सोए रहेंगे। तो ये आप लोगों के थ्रू अच्छे सा प्रस्ताव जाए तो इंडस्ट्री का बचाव हो सकता है।
राइट सर, वेरी गुड इनपुट। डॉक्टर अजय ठाकुर साहब है तो कैन वी इनवाइट डॉक्टर अजय ठाकुर और इस
अजय ठाकुर अभी नहीं आएंगे, लेकिन सिराज सर हमारे साथ कनेक्ट करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। तो आप जब तक CN पांडे साहब से उनके इनपुट जरा लीजिए।
मेरा प्रश्न है।
हाँ भाई जी साहब।
जी सर।
अभी सब लोगों को सुनने के बाद मुझे ऐसा लगा कि देयर इज समवेयर गैप बिटवीन द इंडस्ट्री एंड ट्री ग्रोवर्स। अब समय आ गया है, आई थिंक वेरी अप्रोप्रिएटली गैलेक्सी के जो मालिक है उन्होंने बोला इंडस्ट्री एंड फार्मर्स बोथ हैव टू कम टुगेदर, सिट टुगेदर and try to understand each other's problem or each other's requirement. अगर वो आज नहीं समझेंगे तो I think there is no solution for the industry to survive in future. I think we have reached already to that stage. So regarding the price, I think farmers should be compensated with the maximum price. That is the strategy I think Century has already adopted. And based on that model, only Century is going to develop the complete roadmap that farmers should get a better price so that they get attracted to raise more and more plantation. Because if they don't raise the plantation, then industry will be doomed. Industry will not be in a position to connected on a sustainable basis. So this is one thing. And second thing, I heard the story of Karnataka where Murthy Saab told that there is a glut of timber, but there is no takers and prices of the timber is very low. As a result, farmers are discarding to raise the plantation. I am surprised there is a somewhere gap. Probably he is not aware which are the industry and where are the industry located. As he mentioned, about only 2 per plywood industry. But as per my records, just now I got it downloaded. There are 35 BIS approved manufacturer of plywood industry in India. They are the prestigious plywood manufacturing of industry. I do not know there is where is the gap. Why they have not been able to come across the type of material which are available. Third thing which I just from Dear Murthy Saab ke baat se, कि these timber species, whenever forest department decide or your organization decide that farmers should grow, I think before growing they should know that what is going to be the end use. Unless and until you are sure that what is going to be the end use, there is no use of unnecessarily spending your R&D and spending money for raising those plantations. And fourth thing which I wanted to tell, there are 2 prestigious institutes located in Bangalore itself, Indian Plywood Industry Research and Training Institute and IWST. Both are well known for carrying out the value addition out of any timber. See, Karnataka is well known for handicraft. If timber is in small sizes, those timber can be converted into a value-added product, and there should be a lot of scope. Fourth thing, I was surprised to hear that teak is being sold on the quintal basis. I have never heard. Teak is such a valuable timber that if it can be converted into face veneer, I think you can earn as much as money out of this material. Either your teak grown is maybe just thinning and small diameter material, but if it is a somewhat good, I don't say very good quality, even then there are industry who are manufacturing face veneer for decorative purposes and good prices farmers can get. So there is and this I have been realizing not only today, from the very beginning, somewhere there is a not integration. I used to always call lack of integration between the industries, farmers, and research institution. Now only, I think I am thankful to Mr. Jali and Apply Insight. For the last, I think 1 year, they have provided a platform where each one of us have realized that what R&D organizations should do, what policy changes are required. I think IWST is already working, because unless and until those policies are taken care into account, probably why farmers will go the tea unless he is allowed to cut and take it to anywhere to sell in the market. Why unnecessarily there should be a restriction from the forest departments? Why forest ministry should claim that it comes under the definition of forest? That is another major drawback, which I have been, I think, talking at several platforms. As per the existing definition of the forest, even whatsoever is grown more than 1 hectare area, whatsoever tree is grown, that will be classed as the forest produce, and then all the rules and regulation will be governed and will be applicable. Of course, we are thankful to the government of India and to several states who have relaxed the norms actually for some of the species. You are allowed to put up the industry without any license. Only registration will be required as per the industrial law. So some positive response is there from the government, But I just wanted to again remind to all of you that for everything we should not depend on the government. Let industry come forward. I think as gentleman told, that industry has to ensure sustainable availability of raw material in their catchment. For that, which quality of timber, which clone of timber, what variety of timber species should be grown. I think help can be always taken from ICFRE, from Director IWST, from IPRT. And regarding that, Dr. Kulkarni's point, what he said that there are 10 species, I think those 10 species definitely, because I have been always listening about 4 or 5 species for plywood. But if the raw material base can be expanded to certain other species also, I think it will be a great benefit to our country. So this is my just some observations. And somewhere I feel there is a lack of communication. Because of that, farmers are not getting the remunerative price. And that's all. That's all from my side. Thank you. Over to you, Vaidyanathan.
Mr. Vaidyanathan, may I just briefly respond? May I briefly respond?
You, sir, please. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I have heard that there are too many industries. First thing is, I have served in Karnataka for 30 long years. I have served in the West Coast for about 6-7 years. I visited Moiz workshops factory. I visited Yenapoya factory, plywood factory, and I visited the paper mills. I visited the leading real estate people who construct the doors, windows, and then frameworks and all that. So I am not out of place. We have tried to push the trees, and we have got every day we receive some 8 to 10 calls from farmers that they have got silver oak and they have got this species, that species. Kindly help us to sell teak. So we have not received any favorable response from any industry. Whatever industries are there in Mangalore, plywood industries, they all started as cottage industries way back. Some of them might have graduated, but they are functioning sometimes. Those days it used to be discontinuous. Some of them might have grown, but then they are not the kind of bulk buyers, I would say. Bulk buyers of wood. They will just take it some quantity from some coffee estate person, and the requirement will be met. I am talking at a very state perspective, at a state level perspective, that there is a huge quantity of wood available. Now, agroforestry in Karnataka has been promoted. There are 2 different schemes. One is called KAPY, Krishi Aranya Protsaha Yojana, under which a farmer gets 140 rupees over 3 years. So that has really caught the imagination of people. Now, there is also a central government scheme called Mahatma Gandhi Narega scheme, under which they are also giving incentive. Now, making use of this incentive, people have grown large number of trees in command areas of northern Karnataka. Northern Karnataka, people have grown teak left, right, and center, and I have visited many districts. And tell me, I will tell you, you will be shocked that recently one industry has told me that they get teak wood from Bagalkot district for 600 rupees per CFT to Bangalore, including transportation cost. And then the bullies, which are the smaller size things, are free. They are not supposed to be charged. So I am not speaking out of thin air. I am speaking out of practical experience. And we have got demand from Northern Karnataka to come, organize a timber depot, organize some kind of a buyer-seller meet and all that. We are working on these ideas. That buyer-seller meet, we have requested the forest department. They have also agreed. Probably will do. But the demand is very low. I don't know for what reason. People are ready to buy 7,000 rupees per CFT for Hunsur plywood. Actually, there is nothing like Hunsur plywood these days. Most of it comes from Maharashtra, Alapalli, or Madhya Pradesh. So some people buy, they have got some industries in Hunsur. They sell it at 7,000 rupees, calling it Hunsur. So like that, people have been selling some wood which is brought from outside. But farmer-grown timber, Tamil Nadu farmers are buying at 15,000 rupees per ton. Take it to Hunsur, then do some treatment and bring it back and sell it at 4,000-5,000 rupees. But the quantity is very small. We may justify saying that, oh, it is again selling at 5,000 rupees per CFT. That is not the whole quantity. The quantity which they are buying is, middleman buying is very small, minuscule, 1%, 2%. But a large number of farmers are waiting, and they tap on our doors and say that please buy, please help me with some 600 trees, 500 trees, 700 trees. A lot of people come to me. So my message or my pricing is based on today's marketing situation. I'm not speaking out of any incomplete figures or without knowledge. So I just want to make this statement. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Hunsur Plywood is a company and it's a brand actually. It's related to the timber. So, but another point Moiz Sahib was mentioning was that from North Karnataka, it is becoming difficult to transport it to these parts. So the transportation cost is also increasing in a big way. This is why certain plywood industries are not able to utilize the timber from the North Karnataka. So maybe, as Dr. Pandey Sahib said, we need better communication and coordination with the farmers as to what kind of agroforestry species they need to plant in a particular location. Or maybe, as Pandey Sahib said, there is some kind of communication gap somewhere which we need to study, figure out, and then bridge the gap. So Siraj Asger Sahib is there with us. So I would like to request his points to be shared with us today. Siraj Sahib.
May I share just one more point? We have requested the forest department to liberalize the licensing rules and allow people to establish veneering units locally, because veneering has to be done when the wood is green. So we cannot dry the wood and then veneer it. It has to be done when in green condition. So the forest department has roughly tentatively agreed to relax the rules.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Just a minute, I will finish. They have agreed to relax the rules. We have explained to them how it can be done, and the forest department might be willing to, license a few industries as SMEs at different places in the state, so that they will be able to convert the wood into veneers and then sell it to a bigger industry. So that's one possibility.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Siraj Sahib.
Yeah, can you hear me? Unfortunately, from morning I've been trying. The signal comes on and off. I hope I will be able to speak at least a few minutes and share my views with you all. First of all, thanks to everybody for giving me this opportunity. Well, from when we started working on the plantations of my Amelia dubia, had rules and regulations which were so severe that growing even a single tree in Karnataka was next to impossible. And if you managed to grow it, to cut it was next to impossible. However, continuous efforts from the South India Plywood Manufacturers Association able to get the permit rules. And today, silver oak and Amelia dubia are literally, and I would attribute that this is the main reason why we are able to get such abundance of Amelia dubia in the state. Well, while our state was still in the process of getting things relaxed and released, the neighboring states of Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, up to Gujarat have already taken away the seed and grown. Well, is a tree grown, whether it benefits a man in Karnataka. See the to beyond the border closely with a friend in Tanzania.
Siraj आप अपना वीडियो ऑफ कर दीजिए, then you will get better voice. Audio will be better. You put off your video, then the audio will be better.
Yeah, I think we have lost Siraj Sahib's connection.
Your audio is off. Please put on your audio and video.
We may be able to hear better.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Siraj, can you hear? You can.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
You can put on the video.
Hello.
Okay, sir. Please speak.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, sir, you can switch off the video so that I think you will have better.
We can hear you, Siraj. Go ahead.
Okay, so my feeling is I don't know whether I'll be repeating what Moiz has already said because we are always together and we share the ideas. But then because I've not been able to, I'll make it in a very nutshell. My thinking is until and unless we pay a very, very fair price to the farmers, we will be running out of timber in any circumstances because the land does not belong to us and we have to depend solely on these farmers to grow the trees for our benefit. That is the first point. Second point is we have to try to convince the farmers and the growers not to cut the trees below they attain certain girth. As of now, with these Chinese machines coming in, we find that the timber is being cut, premature timber is being cut, and I am not wrong if I say that as of now, there are industries consuming timber of girth of 12 inches and above. Girth I'm talking of, not the diameter. So we as industries first have to decide that we shall not be using such juvenile timber in the manufacture of plywood for two reasons. One thing is there will be no trees left. Second thing is the plywood that we make will be far inferior in quality. The third and the last is as we continue pursuing the government to relax the rules and regulations, there are so many other species grown in the plantations in Karnataka, like Balanji is there, mango of course added into the restricted list. So we have to persuade and convince the government to see that the relaxed increase the cutting of the trees. It will only be encouraging the farmers for more trees, and that is the only secret to getting enough timber in the years to India. Here, though we are having a very good species of timber, the timber is grown by farmers in their private lands. 5 trees, 10 trees, 20 trees, 100 trees, and 1,000 trees is all that we come across. Very few plantations are there with a bigger area, bigger plantation. So what I would request is that we should try and find ways and means by which we can encourage these planters and the farmers to grow more and more trees, because their growing trees is the most crucial, and that's the only source by which we'll be able to get more and more timber. I think the other aspects must have been covered. If there's anything else that during the question hour, if that comes up my mind, I'll surely able to clarify. But I'd not like to repeat what has been already said. So I hope I have covered everything. And in case I've missed out anything, there are senior members like Moiz and all who are there who will be able to add to this. So before I conclude, let's not try to take credit for developing or promoting these trees. Let's try to take credit for ensuring that we get enough raw material supply in the years to come, so that not only they survive, we also survive. And a request to the people who are there here from the government or agencies, please help us in trying to promote growing of more trees, not only within our borders, but beyond our borders also. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Siraj sir. Very key vital points from your part. In fact, that we need to have a big organization to promote agroforestry timber. And we need to see agroforestry as a single resource, which is the need of the hour for all industries, and keep aside our competitive spirit for the sake of good resource development in this industry. Thank you so much. Dr. Ajay Thakur is available.
Ajay Thakur will not be available. He is not available.
Okay. Okay, sir. तो मैं आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि आपका रिमार्क्स, including remarks and concluding statements.
Myself. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. I am audible.
Yes, yes, sir.
सर बहुत कुछ कहा जा चुका है। मैं खाली जो है नॉर्थ इंडिया इंडस्ट्री जो है ये दुनिया में और ज्यादा इंटरेस्ट डेवलप हो। सर ये बताएंगे कि खरीदते हैं और कितना परसेंट आपकी फेस जाती है। नंबर एक क्वेश्चन सर। नंबर दो क्वेश्चन 8 है, ये कितना सरवाइव करेगा? आप 8 फुट की मशीन के लिए कितना रिकमेंडेशन यील्ड तभी अच्छा आएगा, को अच्छा मिलेगा जब 8 फुट की पिलिंग मशीन हो। सर ये 2 पॉइंट पर जरा आप खुलकर बताएंगे ताकि जो हमारे नॉर्थ इंडियन के व्यूअर्स हैं उनको लाभ उठा सकें।
देखिए साहब, हाँ बिल्कुल। देखिए साहब, पहली बात तो ये है कि हर जगह देखता हूँ वहाँ पे 4 फुट की पिलिंग मशीन लगे हुए हैं, कहीं 8 फुट का पिलिंग मशीन है ही नहीं, कहीं बहुत ही कम जगह करा रहे हैं। जिसके बाद 8 फुट का मशीन है आराम से पिल कर लेता है, कोई प्रॉब्लम ही नहीं होती। आप समझ लिए, और अवेलेबिलिटी है, ऐसी बात नहीं है। लेकिन क्या है कि जब फार्मर को ये बात बोलते हैं लोग जाके कहीं छोटा अपन ले काट दो, तो क्या करता है, काट देता है बेचारा वो, क्योंकि उसको तो पैसे की जरूरत होती है। लेकिन उसको ये मालूम नहीं है कि अभी मुझे पैसा कम मिल रहा है, बाद में पैसा बहुत ज्यादा मिलेगा। बिकॉज फॉर द लार्जर गट टिम्बर वी आर पेइंग almost 15,000 rupees per ton now. I'm converting into ton. We are paying in cubic foot actually, not in the but we are paying between 400 rupees to 500 rupees per cubic foot. We are paying them now. Okay, and that is a very good price that we are giving. Why? So and we are buying today. My factory is running only 100% purely on media review. Anybody can come and have a look at it. We don't mind it. It's not that we have whispered anybody not to come here. We will welcome anybody who wants to come and visit us. Let them have a look at it. Whether what I'm talking about is making a sense or not, so we'll understand. As far as the face is concerned, the face is fair. Not only you get the face, but you get a panel core. So panel core at the moment in the Indian plywood industry is zero almost. Nobody uses the panel core. कहाँ है panel core? तो आता ही नहीं आजकल। हाँ, शुरू में अभी we started using some panel core by fabricating it. Besides the matter, but otherwise there is no peeling of panel core anywhere at all. 4 फुट के पिलिंग मशीन में कहाँ पैनल कोर मिलेगा ही नहीं कहीं पे आप। तो ये वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग, और वी आर यूजिंग रेगुलरली पैनल कोर, शॉर्ट कोर, पैनल कोर एंड फेस. So the quality of the plywood will be very very good indeed, and it will give all the proper requirement which is there as per the scientific process, whatever it may be. So these are my this is my clear take. 8 फुट का पिलिंग मशीन लगाना जरूरी है, बहुत जरूरी है, और टिम्बर मिलता है तो करना ही चाहिए, बिकॉज दैट इज ओनली गोइंग टू गिव अ फेस। नहीं तो फेस कहाँ से मिलने वाला है? तो दिस इज माय ऑब्जर्वेशन ऑन दैट।
सवाज साहब कुछ कहने वाले हैं?
नहीं, अभी मेरा प्रश्न अभी पूरा हुआ नहीं अभी उनका। तो मोइज सर, आपने बताया नहीं कि कितना परसेंटेज आप मिलिया दुबिया ले रहे हैं और कितना परसेंटेज आपका फेस का रिक्वायरमेंट पूरा हो जाता है सर?
100% पूरा होता है फेस का रिक्वायरमेंट हमारा, और हम लेते हैं डेली, एवरी डे वी आर पिलिंग almost about 700 cubic foot of milia today. This is my requirement, yes, as far my factory is concerned. We are using 100% milia dubia only.
Thank you very much, sir.
And the yield of the face is very good indeed. Very good indeed.
तो मेरी नॉर्थ इंडिया मैन्युफैक्चरर से अपील है कि मोइज साहब का इतना भारी एक्सपीरियंस है, उसको जो है मानेंगे और अपना फायदा अपना भी करेंगे और किसानों का भी फायदा करेंगे। ये बिल्कुल की पॉइंट है। ये इसकी पॉइंट को पकड़ लेंगे तो किसान भी खुश है और इंडस्ट्री भी खुश है। जहां तक इन्वेस्टमेंट का सवाल है, इन्वेस्टमेंट में कोई मुश्किल नहीं है। अगर वो मशीन 6 महीने या 1 साल में फ्री हो जाती है तो नुकसान कहाँ है?
जी, सुभाष साहब कुछ कहेंगे?
Sir, what my ideology of creating the whole one single group, that is one single organization, taking everybody together, has to be taken very definitely. Everything is going to collapse. Now this is a time, and this should not be just ignored in this. In the meeting it should not be closed. It has to be taken forward. I'm very adamant on this. So I really request, we are having such experienced people, so many good industrialists, and everybody's there. This has to be taken. I'm very, very adamant on this, and my request that this has to be taken forward. And this with work, it will be fun also. So I think, Mr. Vaidya, you can create some WhatsApp or existing groups. So we can take some steps forward. From our side, our company side, we will give our support is required, and we really, it is the need of the hour. I think MP Singh sir, I think you also have to support my suggestion. I really request everybody to just support this suggestion.
Already our lead support for the entire last 2 years, what we have seen with the WhatsApp group initiated by WTA Jolly Sab, and getting to all the people, as you are also aware, you are part of the group also. So almost all the activities, Dr. MP Singh Sab has been our inspiration, support, and I'm sure he will continue to be our biggest, you can say, the spine of our entire network.
I see that we have to do it. So there is no
I agree with you fully. In fact, that was the reason we had written to the government of India to have a state level organization, a state wood council, and at the central level also wood council of India. That was the basic purpose. In fact, we can go down to the district level also or the regional level also. See, in Karnataka, what is happening, I must tell you that Government of India has come out with the guidelines in 2017, and Karnataka has not implemented the guidelines till today. So I must say, other states in the south, they have implemented the Government of India guidelines, but Karnataka has taken long 5 years. And now the present establishment in Forest Department is thinking over it, they are adopting it. So Karnataka has been conservative in the approach so far as the wood-based industry is concerned. Even with regard to felling of the trees permit also, and in the transit permit also. So we have been also trying to convince them, then you don't need to have 2 kinds of permits. It creates more problem than solves the problem of the farmers. And farmers have taken up the agroforestry on a large scale because here the farmers are very progressive. But when you don't have good wood-based industry framework, then the industry will not redistribute itself, or it will not optimize the capacity or the augmentation of the raw material from the agroforestry. I know for sure 1-2 industry, they have moved to Andhra Pradesh instead of establishing their unit in Karnataka. So that was the situation actually. And you are getting raw material at the moment because you don't have expansion of the industry. As soon as the guidelines comes, this problem will come to Karnataka also. So we need to support the farmers, and we need to have organization at the state level and at the regional level also, augmenting and supporting and then providing a framework for the farmers. Like as Siraj Sahab has also emphasized that farmers should get a good price. So that is the duty of all the industry. But industry, what is the situation? What was in Haryana or Punjab 2-3 years back? There is surplus raw material and there is less number of industries because we have not relaxed we have not implemented Government of India guidelines in Karnataka. In fact, some of the industry they don't know whether they are registered or they are under the license. So this kind of situation is also in Karnataka. They have 83 plywood industry and then 13 more are without license. So you can say almost 100 industries are working in Karnataka. But see, their energy, if we follow the Government of India guidelines, then it is only registration as far as the plywood and the particle board and the MDF are concerned. So when we facilitate the industry, they will optimize their capacity also, and they will do the expansion also. So this kind of situation is there. So it should be a win-win situation for both. So it is the need of the hour that we have written to the Karnataka Forest Department also to establish a state wood council to solve this problem. In fact, we even suggested to have a meeting with the Karnataka, with all the wood-based industry. But Karnataka Forest Department is not yet ready for the meeting because they have a backlog of 5 years. So they want to come out with the new guidelines first and then have the meeting because they were complaints against the department, and because it is really surprising that a state like Karnataka is not implementing Government of India guidelines. So, and when we talk of agroforestry, we can have a scheme from the government to support the agroforestry, but until unless there is a demand, it will not support farmers, and they will not get and then again they will withdraw from this activity. They will go to the other alternative activities, and it will be really difficult to convince them again. So it is better that that thing is taken up at the state level again. And I would again request SIPMA members also. I will share the letter written to the Forest Department. And you should have a state council. And then alternatively, if a state is not having a state council, then industry can join hand, and even the SIPMA can join hand, and then have a council where you get all the people, all the even the Forest Department representative or the local DFO, and then the agriculture people also into that board, and the farmers also. And then we can have two models actually, one supported by the government, or it can be supported by the industry or industry organization also. If the government does not come forward, then we can think of having the regional council, wood council, or the state district council also. Maybe you can have one for the Mangalore area, that kind of thing. Because see, you don't need to procure wood from long to have the local stakeholders together, and then leading industry also being there. So then only you can support the farmers, and you can really encourage them into the agroforestry and the species what you want. And see, that was a setback when the Karnataka came with the ban on eucalyptus. We try hard with the state government. We gave all the technical inputs and even wrote a protest letter also to the Forest Department and to the secretary. Still, they have some political compulsions because this Karnataka is more of a conservation they want to show that they are conservationists, but at the same time, they will not be serving the purpose of the farmers and the industry. Otherwise, Karnataka, why industry are going to Andhra Pradesh? So it is a thing which we really need to ponder over that. And otherwise, if you see the South India, it is because so much of agricultural land is there and the farmers are very progressive. They are taking agroforestry and especially, so they need industry, they need the demand, continuous demand of the timber. Then only they will be into, more and more farmer will come into. There has been setback even in Andhra also with the paper industry, large scale plantation were taken up and then there were no buyers. So there have been setback to the farmers also, as Dr. Kulkarni also mentioned, that they have shifted. So that kind of things will happen until unless we have a local kind of a council, wood council at the regional level. So we really need to support that. And we have written to all the chief secretary, but we will share the letters to you also. Because see, especially Karnataka, it is not a priority area for the state government, wood-based industry. So that is really surprising actually. So we need to bring that into the focus, that wood-based industry is also a focus area of the government. So with this, I really congratulate all the participants to share their thoughts. And I think, but again, I request Karnataka especially to take the lead and make an example. They can come first also in having their own model of the wood council at the regional level or at the state level or at the district level, and then organize the things in a better way. And Dr. K.N. Murthy sir is also there. He's also into, we had a discussion. They are also worried that farmers are not getting the demand. So it is really a difficult situation, no doubt. So we need to work together. It will be the win-win situation for both for the industry and the farmers together. Thank you.
Vaidya, cannot hear.
Yeah, you are muted, Vaidya.
You are in mute.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Singh sir. In between, Dr. Kulkarni sir has got a point which he has shared in chat. That is, wood shortage phase in South India may happen around 2025, 26, and industry should be proactive in taking up more plantations to avoid the worst situation. So, which our Shawaz also was mentioning a little earlier. So, with this, we would like to thank all honorable panelists, experienced vice panelists we had today, and it was a very proactive discussion. And we have got lots of key points, for taking up for future discussions and deliberations and debates too. And with this, I extend my greetings, best wishes, and sincere thanks to all panelists, one and all panelists. And with this, I would like to ask Gali Saab to extend his concluding remarks. And Gali Saab, over to you, sir.
सर, आज का वेबिनार जो है तो लेके हम चले थे, तो बहुत सफल हुए हैं और उसके लिए पैनलिस्ट का भी धन्यवाद करता हूं। और हमारे मेंटर जो है डॉक्टर MP सिंह साहब का जो है बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। तो उनको हर बार हम साथ लेते हैं और हर बार जो है उनका आशीर्वाद भी मिलता है, सहयोग मिलता है। और साउथ इंडिया के एग्रो फॉरेस्ट्री के दिग्गज किसान डॉक्टर K.N. मूर्ति, श्री B.R. नारायण का भी मैं धन्यवाद करता हूं। और पेपर एंड वुड इंडस्ट्री के जो एक्सपर्ट्स डॉक्टर कुलकर्णी, डॉक्टर पांडे, डॉक्टर धर्मेंद्र का धन्यवाद करता हूं। पांडे साहब से जो है यदा कदा डिस्कशन होता रहता है और ये सब जो है उन पर हम एक दूसरे पर प्रेशर बना के रखेंगे तो अपने आप काम चलेगा। साइंटिस्ट जो है डॉक्टर निकोडेमस का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। इंडस्ट्री की तरफ से श्री मोइज साहब, सिराज साहब, श्री शावाज साहब, श्री विमल चोपड़ा, इनको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। इस तरह शरीर के सारे अंग जो है साथ रहने बहुत जरूरी है। आँख, कान, नाक, कान, पैर इसी तरह ये मेरी यही कोशिश है कि सारे के सारे जो अंग हैं, सारे हमारे इंडस्ट्री है, साइंटिस्ट हैं, ये सब जो है साथ साथ चलें और एक दूसरे की दिक्कत को समझें और दूर करें हम लोग जो है। मैं फ्लाइंग साइड के श्री सुरेश बैती जी को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करता हूं, और आज वैद्यनाथन जी ने बहुत अच्छा एंकरिंग करी है और बहुत अच्छा किया है। मैं इनको हृदय से धन्यवाद करता हूं। सबको मेरा हृदय से नमस्कार, धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Jolly sir. Thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you.
Taking ahead for the discussions, and we'll keep you all posted and connected. Thank you very much. Stay safe. Thank you all.
Everyone. Thank you.